Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Jay's Build Streams with Top Clack. Very welcome guys. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I hope you guys are having a really good day. I'm exhausted. If I look tired and I have bags under my eyes, I apologise. I'm really tired. Let me know if the music's too loud. It feels like it's a little bit too loud, so I don't know if that's just me or if that's too loud for you guys as well. Let's just take it down. Yeah, music down a touch, just slightly. Yeah, it felt a little bit loud. Hopefully that's better. Let me know if that's too low. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm really tired today, and I have two builds to do because I missed the stream last week. So because I wasn't feeling too great last week, I didn't get a chance to do the build. Very nice. Thank you very much, Raging Asian, for your subscription. That is 27 months. Hold me, Jay. Brian won't. Ray, I've got you, man. Internet hugs just for you. Thank you, dude. Genuinely appreciate it. Thank you very much. Was a song that stopped? You should be able to still hear the music. I'll turn it up a little bit. There you go. There you go, guys. Let's see who we got then. So I think first today was Karcher. So very well done. Vogon got second. He says, hey Jay. We've also got Huey here. He says there's a bot chat called Community Scoreboard. Right. Well, we'll maybe more in a couple of weeks on that. It's something we're working on. Very nice. Thank you very much, John O'Warren, for the subscription. He says whoop whoop. So thank you very much for that, good sir. That's his 7 months of subs now. 7 months. Wow, 7 months. We've also got Mauam Wins saying giveaway. Yeah, we are going to do a giveaway later on in the stream today. It's something that I bought multiples of purely for this purpose. So we're going to do some giveaways shortly. Well, there's just one giveaway, sorry, to be honest, but not giveaways. It's just one giveaway. We're going to do it at some point during the stream today. It's going to be just completely random. All you guys need to do to be eligible is to be active in chat. And then at some point, I'm randomly just going to draw the winner. So now we're actually live. I can set that up. Okay, so yeah, so that's now all set up. And at some point randomly today, I'm not going to say when, it's just going to get pinged in chat and someone is going to win the prize. And you're not going to find out what it is until I show you after the winner's been announced. So the winner will be announced and then I'll show what the prize is. It's just at the side of me. I did buy multiples of these. I bought one from every different vendor that had it available at the time. So you guys can guess, see what it is, and we'll go from there. Lurking isn't illegal, but it's just the only way I can do it fairly because I have to have something turned on for you to interact, and I want to kind of do it randomly surprise at some point, just really random. So yeah, I could do it like a regular keyword, or I could do it just through subscribers, or I could do random number, but it's just much easier to do active user. Now, in terms of how this works, you only have to have been active within the last 15 minutes. That's all it has to be. So within the 15 minutes prior to me drawing it, you just have to have been active at that point. So there we go. I'm not making you be social. I just have 3 options to do it. I didn't want to do a keyword. I didn't want to do a random number. I just wanted to make it completely random at some point during the stream because I think it's quite fun. So yeah, so be active, but don't be active, but be active. But you have got 15 minutes, kind of like a window. It's kind of the maximum I can do is 15 minutes, so that's the window we're going to go with. In terms of the community score, both bot Huey, that's something that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I am going to bring the J score back, but it's going to be solely as a community score, and we're going to have a bot that will help us be able to determine what the actual average score you guys are giving us is. Functional, I've used in chat. Hey, Functional, thank you, man. He's actually helping us produce that, so I'm really excited once we've tested a little bit to unveil it in a few weeks' time. Zapri says he just came off The Last of Us 2, got an ad for the game here. LOL. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Alansky's here as well. Treeleaf64 too. Toon Van's here as well. Hype Sloth. Great name. Hype Sloth. Rabbit's here. John O'Lags. Socialite as well. Vogon. Yeah, we've covered Vogon. Who else is here? I think that's it. Gondolindrum's active. You're marginalising the lurkers. Oh, well, I had to do one of 3 ways, so this is the kind of like least intrusive way. So yeah, it's going to be random. It's not going to be near the beginning of the stream. It's going to be some way into it, so we'll see. Yeah, everyone's got timers on the phones, 15-minute timers now, yeah. This is my comment back to lurking now. Fair enough. Surprises now. No, it's going to be later on. It's not going to be at the beginning. That'd be boring. Hi, I'm here, Mum, says Gondo. Wallet bonus as sub players. Hey man, good to see you, dude. I'm still salty about that Kajal. Still salty about that, Mum. You can say my name. Yeah, well, so everyone calls me Jay. My initials are JAE, and then my surname's Flynn. My first name's actually Jonathan, but no one calls me that. My wife, her family, everyone calls me Jay. They have done for a very long time. But yeah, growing up and in school, I got called Jono quite a lot. That's what I was called, because it was short for Jonathan. But yeah, but I've not been known as that since maybe, I don't know, 2000, 2001. Everyone's called me Jay since then, so it's a long time. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to do marbles because I don't know. I didn't know how to set it up, if I'm completely honest, and I hadn't had a chance to look at it. So this is where we're doing it. KVS says, "How you doing, Jay?" I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. I'm feeling a little bit tired, but ready to stream, ready to show you some stuff. Yes, I have to do 2 builds today because I missed last week, and I promised Gondo I'd build the double on stream. So I'm going to do 2 builds today. One is a customer build, which is rare for me, which is a KBD75 V2. I don't think I've ever done one of these on stream before, but I have built them before, although it's probably over a year since. And the second is going to be a Fjell with the Doddle PCB in play, and we'll see how that goes. This is a board that Leandrin sent to me to take to the UK meetup, which hasn't happened yet, so I'm just going to borrow it just for a test build, just to see how it is, and we'll go from there. Can you call me J01? No, because that's the name of that board just here. If you look at the other camera, you can see just there, that's that board. Which is coming back soon. Build stream maybe next week, maybe not, maybe the week after. Not sure yet. I need to wait for the gaskets. In fact, the gaskets are in actually. I've got the plate in as well. I just need the switches that I want for it. So waiting on just switches. So as soon as they arrive the weekend after that, that's when the JO1 build will be, the JO1 Rev 1. Then I'll put an interest check up and we'll go from there. But the group buy stuff coming soon. Jono.store. Robbing my name. Yeah, well, there you go. DMAT X is here as well. He says, "Hi Jay and guys, hey man, good to see you." Jay, do you know if Lubrigancy works with USB Mini Alice PCB? I have no idea, if I'm completely honest. I think it only works with the Alice in Wonderland PCB, but I could be wrong. The version of the board I have has the Alice in Wonderland PCB, which was designed by Martin. It's excellent. It's a really good piece of kit, and that's what I have in my board. So there you go. Okay, so let's see how we are doing in terms of volume of people. I think that's broadly it. This is probably broadly what we're going to get today. Ugly, 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 ugly. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Some people, right? Okay, guys, so we're going to flip over to the other camera now. We'll take a look at the KBD75 V2. We're going to build this for DNL. I'm not sure if he's in chat or not. I hope he's around, but if he's not, then we're going to build his board for him. He hasn't answered one final question on layout, so he wants me to build his board in ISO with a 6.25U bottom row and 2 1.5U keys on the right-hand side. So we're going to do that. He hasn't answered me as whether he wants the stepped off full caps. Hopefully he will be here for then, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, right then. Let's. No, we're not doing the Doddle first. We're doing the KBD75 first because it's not my build; it's someone else's build. So it's more important that I finish that off. We are going to be building it with inks, and I'm going to flip over the cameras now, like so. There you go, guys. Here are the inks. We do have some stabilizers direct from KBD75. These are cherry screw-ins, as you can see there. They do need clipping and lubing, so we'll get to those shortly. These are the ink switches. They have been lubed with Crytox 205 grade 0, and they should be okay. They feel pretty consistent. I don't know, it's a while since I've built with them, so I'm interested to see if I still like them as much as I used to. Let's just put it that way. Down with that fast camera focus. It's not that quick. So see, it all depends on what it's focusing on. So sometimes it will focus, sometimes it won't. There we go. For those wondering, it's the Alpha A7 is the camera that we're using today. Okay, in terms of PCB, we do have the new VIA compatible KBD75 V2 PCB. I have already put the VIA hex on here, so we will be able to use that when we're testing keys and things later on. So that's the PCB we'll be using. And then here is the board. So it has some internal kind of piece of plastic. I guess it's going to act as a sound dampener, but we'll see. Glacier, thank you very much, man, for the Party 4 raid. Thank you very much. Welcome, guys, to this episode of Clack, where we're building 2 boards today. Brass plate, so I haven't actually taken this out as yet. But here we go, guys. Brass plate. Good old bit of brass for a keyboard plate. And then we've got some fixings and some bump-ons. One of the things I've never understood about some boards is why they use bump-ons that are so big. Look at the size of those. Look at the size of them. Not quite sure I understand why people use those, but hey. And then we'll get rid of the box. And then here is the board.
Ooh, very nice.
Thank you very, very much, Shoni Grundy, for the 19 months of subs. And here you go, guys. Here you can see the KBD75 V2. This isn't a brass middle layer, it is acrylic. Excuse the thumbprint there. The metal's quite cold, so it's going to show fingerprints on it quite a lot. So it is acrylic. I do need to take the tape off, the brown tape you can see there. When we take the board apart, we'll have to remove that. Now this is a tray mount case, as you can see, so it's going to offer quite a firm typing feel. No gasket mounting or anything else solution wise here, so it's going to be quite firm to type on, but it should be pretty interesting to see how that goes. Case looks pretty good. The anodization quality is pretty alright, actually. There's no mismatch between the 2 layers. It looks pretty okay. It's nice and smooth. There are some hook marks on the inside that are quite severe, so I just want to call these out. You can see just there's a hook mark, and just there as well. They're quite deep though, you can kind of feel them with your finger, so they're quite large. Other than that though, the case looks alright. There is some more hook marks at the other end, just inside there as well, but they are tucked away. They're all on the inside. The outside is pretty nice looking, so we shall see how it builds. In terms of keycaps for this today, I will be unboxing my GMK Night Runner set. So DNL, who this build's for, didn't send me any keycaps for the build. He just asked me to pick one of my own sets. So I'm going to be putting Night Runner on here. I still haven't made up my mind whether I like this set or not. So this is going to be the test, putting it on a board, seeing how it looks. And I feel like it's going to go with anything. It's going to go with a dark board. So we'll see how that goes today. Okay, let's catch up with chat and see what you guys are talking about. Nice looking plate. The plate looks okay, yeah. Giveaway is going to happen randomly. All you guys have to do is just be active at some point. Like the maximum I can put the timer on is 15 minutes. So you just have to be active at some point, and then I'm randomly going to draw it. I'm not going to tell anyone when it's coming. I'm going to randomly draw it, and then I'll show the prize afterwards, and then I'll ship it out tomorrow to whoever wins. Kakan says first. Absolutely, you are first, sir. Yes, you are first at something, I'm sure. Also being active. Cute. Thanks. Yeah, there you go, guys. Not a huge fan of Night Runner either. I need to decide. I haven't had it on a board yet.
Very nice.
Ooh, very nice. Thank you very much, TreeLeaf64, for your subscription. I genuinely appreciate that, dude. That's 2 months of subs now. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to pop the board to one side. We can pop the plate and the fixings to one side as well. And we're going to start off with the stabilizers.
Ooh, very nice.
Gondolindrum says, excited to hear Top Clack's take on Sagittarius. Do you know what? I can't wait to get hold of one of those boards, Gondolindrum. It might be the board that actually forces me to type properly. Everyone knows that my typing style isn't correct. It works for me, it doesn't work for other people. It's not the most attractive to look at, but hey, as long as it works, that's the main thing. I think that board might be the one that teaches me to type properly if I pick one up. So Gondo, if you can get me a prototype to build, I will be all over that. So there we go. Jay has more subs than Dr. Disrespect. Right, okay, so I don't know what Dr. Disrespect does. Shut up, Huey. Shut up. Shh. Tasty, thank you very much, Vogon, for the tasty bits. 100 bits there. Thank you very much, dude. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for those bits. But yeah, so I did say it about the VEA, and I did say it about the Alice, and I sold the Alice, in other words. I don't use the VEA, but I think I will use a Sagittarius if I can get hold of one. So there we go. So Gondo, let's see if we can get a build stream going, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much for calling me out, Huey. I appreciate that, dude. Genuinely. I see how it is. The Doctor disrespecting though, I genuinely don't understand that. So I don't really follow gaming on Twitch, and I know that he's some kind of personality, and I know he plays kind of like FPS games and things. That's about the limit of my knowledge. So yeah, I don't know any more than that, John O'Warren. But yeah, if someone wants to enlighten me, feel free. And the doppelganger. Well, I don't actually own a doppelganger, so Huey, the doppelganger may be the one, but it depends on which comes first. So we'll see. I'll talk to Ubas. I was only joking, Gondo, but I will get one in the group by either way. Charge my spirit bomb with your hate. Sure. Might be a great shelf looker. Yeah, the VEA hasn't moved off the shelf behind me in probably about 9 months now, which is really bad. I should use it more. That's what we all say when new Ergo layout comes out as well. Absolutely. Okay, so in terms of the build, we are going to do the stabilizers first. So I'll just pop the switches to one side. Now these are cherry stabilizers, and we're going to go with a 6.25U bottom row. We're going to go with a full backspace, and we're going to go with ISO enter. So that's all of the stabilizers that we need. So we don't need the 7U spacebar, we just need the 6.25 one. We need one for the ISO enter, one for the backspace. Remember guys, on an ISO board you split the left shift, so you don't use a stabilizer there. It's a 75%, so we don't need a right shift. We're going to use a 1.75U one, so no stabilizer here. So it's just the backspace, the enter, and the spacebar that we need for this today. Get the housings and everything together. Okay, I should have done this pre-stream, but hey, it's fine. We'll be okay. We're going to clip and lube these very shortly. We just need the screws. Okay. Okay, now this PCB is a little bit of a Swiss cheese PCB, so I am going to use these rubber O-rings just to stop any shorting or anything from the screws we put in to hold the stabilizers in place, so we can make sure that we've got everything that we need from that perspective. Upas is doing another proto, so Sagittarius won't run for a bit. Yeah, I did order a FLX Virgo, so I have got one of those coming. Still waiting for the E8.5 giveaway. It's going to happen. Don't worry, dude. It's going to happen. It will happen at some point in the summer. Is it any good orange desk mat? I have no idea. There is the Blorange one for sale on TKC at the minute. But that's about the only one I know, which is a Boba Tea inspired one. Giveaways the left of J stabs, the state they cost now. These aren't my stabs. These are very much from DNL, the guy whose board we're building right now. Okay, I'm just going to put all these back in here. I shouldn't have tipped it all out really, but hey, you live and you learn. There was an orange Godspeed Decima, was there? I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember seeing an orange Godspeed Decima, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. I do like orange. There was a reason orange was chosen for the Lodestone prototype as well. Okay. So, time to clip and lube our stabilizers. So for those of you who've never clipped stabilizers before, when you get a cherry stabilizer, you get this, and you'll see that on the bottom there are 4 legs, and we're going to cut off 2 of those legs. So we're going to cut off this leg here, the one that I'm holding up, and we're also going to cut off the diametrically opposed one, the diagonally opposite one, this leg here as well. And to do that, we're literally just going to cut it as flush as we can. So you can see now I have removed that leg in the bottom right hand corner, and it's completely gone. Now the other leg's a little bit different to do. So this leg here is a little bit more different to do because it's actually raised up off the bottom. If I hold it like that, you can see that it's not flush with the bottom, it's actually raised up slightly. So what you have to do is cut it at an angle so you get that nice and flush. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut it holding it like this. So the...
Ooh, very nice.
Crumbopolis, thank you very much for the subscription, man. Thank you very much for joining the Top Clack family. Thank you, dude. So we're going to clip it like that, and what that gives us is it takes it off at an angle, but it means the bottom of the stabilizer is now completely flush. We're going to rinse and repeat that for all of the other areas of the stabilizers, all of the other inserts. We're just going to do that as quickly as we can. Just making sure that they're nice and smooth on the bottom before we move on. It's a while since I've had to do this on any cherry stabilizers, so. Love the Lodestone Orange, thank you, man. Yeah, I love the Lodestone Orange as well. It's a very close match for my Datsun car, one of my classic cars in the collection. Wallet Burner, I'm not sure if you're liking the music or not when you say that. Although I know my car did offend some people in Teihei Types Discord. Someone posted a picture in there the other week, and someone said it was damned ugly, which, fair enough, you don't have to like it, but there we go. Will the Lodestone come in E-White? Probably not. We've still got to decide on the colours finally. There will be an orange one, but there we go. Orange, we want to do like a lime green one as well, but it's for something for Flex and I to talk about later on as we get closer to the group buy. Okay, now we are going to lube our stabilizers and pop them together. So the first thing we're going to do is get our brush ready, and we're going to insert the housing, the slider into the housing. So we're just going to put these in place. So you want the side that's got 2 holes on. See, that's got 2 holes on. That side is the front, and the side where the wire clips in on the housing is the front as well. So you want to make sure that you put the 2 holes in facing that way. And then we're just going to put that to one side. We're just going to rinse and repeat that for all of the other parts as well, making sure that they're all ready to go, ready to put on our stabilizers as we loop the wires. It's a beautiful car. Hey, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can like everything. If everyone liked everything, or if we all like the same thing, which is the same thing, then we would all have very, very different opinions on, well, we'd all have the same opinion, and the world would be boring. We wouldn't have the beauty of different opinions, sorry. We wouldn't have the beauty of, you know, being able to disagree and to like different things, and the world would be very stale if we all like the same things. So I'm completely okay with people not liking my car. My Datsun is 1976. It's technically a 280Z, which is the same as a 240Z in terms of design, but it has a 2.8 litre engine as stock. However, it uses the last of the 260Z shells, which was slightly more robust than the 240Z shells. But it's technically classed as a 280Z. But it's still a Datsun Fairlady, 1976. Fully restored, took 2 years to restore her. And yeah, she's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we're just going to put some dielectric grease on here. We are lubing these stabs quite thick because they're, and I'll show you guys this in a second, because these are the cherry stabilizers that aren't particularly great right now. Just putting a nice amount of lube on here, just making sure it's all nice and even, and that we're covering all sides of it pretty evenly. So that's how much lube we're going to put on there. You can see it's just enough to see, it's quite thick. And then once we've done that, we're going to pop that inside one of the housings, making sure we go into the bottom hole and then clip it into the front of the stabilizer. And you can see that's now all working as it should. Then we're going to do the other side. Dodo says, OJ, I made a video explaining how to do a keyboard infill because up until then your video was the only way to learn to do it. You had to go through an entire build stream. Yeah, I've been meaning to make a video for a long time and I just never got around to it. So I'm glad someone else has done it. That's very useful. It's a good skill to have in the hobby, and as long as you use the right paints, it's easy to undo as well. One stabilizer done. We do need to go back and lube the sliders, so you'll see me do that in a few minutes. I haven't forgotten, just this is my method. Slightly different to how some other people do it, but hey, works for me. Which group buy will hit the market earlier than Lodestone or JO1? The JO1 will be first, Lodestone will be later. The reason for that is because the JO1 is pretty much ready to go. The Lodestone is still in its prototyping phase, and that's with Flex to sign off on the current design. We're currently waiting for some more parts to be manufactured in some new materials, so that's probably a little bit further out. I wouldn't run both at the same time or both within the same month. There will be a gap between the two of them, just so that I can stagger delivery dates and QC dates and everything else. But yes, that's the current plan. Project Cars and Money Pits. Yeah. I used to have a Toyota Corolla from 1972. Nice. Now on a project car. How much experience did you have before you started the Datsun restoration? I think I've restored about 10 cars over the year. I've got 7 in my current collection. Not all of them are restored, I've just got 7 cars. But I've probably restored about 10 cars. That is 6.25, right? Just looks really short. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I'd got some experience, so I actually, to teach myself how to restore cars, I actually apprenticed as a panel beater for about 6 months, just in spare time and weekends and stuff like that at a local body shop, just to teach myself how to do that kind of thing. This was in the early 2000s. Electrical stuff I've always been pretty happy to have a go at, so that was always fairly easy. Painting was the biggest challenge for me. I had to learn how to paint stuff, and that took a while. I actually used to buy like old donor car panels of like any car from wherever, and I would practice sanding them down, making sure they were all nice and flush, making sure they were all nice and flat, and then painting them, priming them first, painting them, and clear coating and polishing everything before I actually started on the project car as well. So I just took my time, learned how to do what I needed to do, had a go, picked up a lot of skills on the way. The only thing I didn't do myself was the restoration of things like the seats and stuff like that. I did hand that out to a company, got them to do all the kind of upholstery restorations. Okay. Growing up, my family had a Datsun truck with a camper shell on it. Nice, that'd be awesome. I kind of want to get a little Datsun or Nissan Cherry pickup truck. That's something I really want to get. Maybe soon, maybe the end of the summer. My girlfriend wants a cute board. Any idea what to get her? Depends on what she likes. If she wants something like an 1800 HBCP in pink polycarbonate would be my bet, but that's going to be expensive. If she wants something small, you could go for something like a Clarabelle or an Elongate. The Elongate has just gone into group buy. That's available on my keyboard that you can see there tagged down here, and it's also available on my project keyboard as well. So you could take a look at that. It's a good project. Okay, now we've lubed the wires and built the stabilizers, we are going to gently lube the inserts. So this is the insert here, and we're going to lube this side of the wall here. We're going to flip it over and lube the other side. I'll try and do this one just up here so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just going to paste on a nice thin bit of lube. I can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to paste on a nice thin amount of lube. We're not trying to gum up the stabilizer, we just want it to work. So just a thin layer, just to make it look wet. Same on the other side. And then we're going to move on to the other stabilizer. Leak of the JO1 date. I don't have any dates to leak just yet. I need to do the build stream. I need to get the IC up. Realistically, I think it's going to be towards the back end of July. I'd like to do the build stream for it next week or the week after. Then the IC will go up. I've got some more renders coming in, showing off some different colours for the board. Once that's done, then we'll see how we are. But yeah, we'll see how the interest check goes. The other thing I need to do is I just need to update my web store as well, just to make sure that I can take orders from anyone around the world without charging VAT and doing refunds and things. It's fine on smaller group buys like the Clarabelle, but to do it on large scale products is a little bit different. So some changes to the website coming soon as well. Bled in Series Races, evening Jay, evening mate. Good to see you, dude. I think your package that you asked me to ship has been delivered now, so you may want to check that out. Okay. Okay, that's all done now. Now on to the last one. A cute board with the TMO V2. Yeah, the TMO 50 V2 is really nice. I think I built mine about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I genuinely really enjoy using it. It's a really fun board to use. I'm probably going to rebuild it at some point soon. I think I want to change it for a carbon fibre plate. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. Do need to rebuild my Iron 165 as well, because I rushed it, built it with stock switches, and it needs a little bit more care and attention than that. So it's going to get rebuilt in the next couple of weeks as well. Probably the week after the JL1 I'll be rebuilding my Iron 165. Okay, so there we go, guys. That's our stabilizers all lubed up. We are now going to put them into the board, and as we do, we are going to put a little bit more lube just on the underside. So we're going to put like a rice-sized piece of lube just on the underside of the stabilizer, just to make sure that it's nice and covered from that angle as well. And then we're going to pop these into the board. So this is for our backspace key. Then we're going to turn this over and take a screwdriver. Will you be getting the NK65V2? Yes, I do have one, Coinstorm. I do have one. Mike has already sent me one because he's a legend to check out. I have played around with it a little bit, but I probably need to do a stream on it at some point soon. The challenges, I've got so many things in the queue, I don't know when that's going to be, but I would like to get it on stream before it goes live. So if that means we have to do an extra stream this week or next, we will do. Depleted Vespian says, has he missed much? No, you haven't missed much, dude. We're just part way through the first build. Okay, glad the package has arrived, Bloodin. Thank you very much for letting me know. Joined too late. What lube do you like to use on your stabs? This is 205, not 205 grade 0. This is Dielectric Grease. Sorry, I don't know why I said 205 grade 0 because it's not that at all. This is Dielectric Grease. Oops. I'm just going to try and get that in place properly. Okay, so that's our first stabilizer installed. We're now going to do the ISO enter, and then from there we will do our spacebar. See, ISO enter in position. Then we're going to screw this in. Oh, a blueberries build later. I'm curious. Yes, I want to. This is an ISO build. Yeah, this isn't for me. This is a customer build. This is for DNL. I think he's watching, but he might not be in chat. But it's ISO build because that's how he requested it. Blueberries, they are going to be stocked because I want to break them in. Like creams, I do feel like they'll benefit from being broken in a little bit. So the plan is to break those in the build that I'm going to make today, desolder it in a week or two, and then rebuild it once I'm comfortable that everything is okay. And then finally, we need to put in our 6.25U spacebar. And I need to work out where that's going to go. So, does it say on here which are the sockets for the 6.25U? It does not. Let's take our plate and see if we can line it from there. Two or five G0, all the things. Well, this is Dielectric Grease. So I'm just going to try and work out here where I need to put the 6.25U spacebar. So if we line the plate up, we're going to have a 1.25, 1.25, 1.25. Then we're going to have a 6U space, but a 6.25U spacebar, and then two 1.5U keys. I think that wants to sit there. I don't really want to get keycaps out for this. Let's see if that looks like it aligns. Yeah, that's the right spot. That's the right spot. So then we are going to lube these on the bottom again. There we go. And another blob on this side. That's way too much. It's better. Okay, now we can move the lube out of the way. So just lining this up again. Just to make sure I put this in the right spot, and I'm just lining this up again because he's going to use the same bottom row as this particular board, so that's going to go in there and there. There we go, and there we go. I think that's actually the only place that stabilizer will fit, so hopefully this will be fine. We'll test it when we've got some switches in there. Before we solder the board together, we'll make sure it is. Nothing worse than putting the spacebar stabilizer in the wrong place and then having to desolder the board, so we will check it before we solder everything in place. Okay, Matt Mutant says, also curious to see a Blueberry build. My TMO V2 is currently being built with them. Nice. I haven't used them in a board yet, and that's why I'm kind of curious to do so. I've played with some of the switches external to a board, but I haven't played with any in a build yet. So that's something key for me to do. Okay, so there we go. So now it's time to add some switches. Then we'll test out everything fits together correctly, and then we shall solder the board. What's your preference on brushes? Is size 2 small enough, or do you like to use something bigger or smaller? I use size 0, so this is a size 0 brush. I find that to be just the right size. I tend to get ones that are about 0.9 of a centimetre, so 9 millimeters long. That seems to be about the right sort of size for me. So I feel like these are going to be tough to get into this plate, and I'm not wrong. This is going to be a pain on the thumbs today, guys. I can already feel it. Oh gosh, yes. This is going to be a real pain on the thumbs. I may need to put 4 or 5 switches into the plate first and then push them into the PCB to get it to work. There we go. This is going to be one of those days where I just end up with a bruised thumb. But hey, we'll be okay. I'm just going to push in a few switches, make sure it's all nice and even. Then we'll get it back onto the PCB. These switches are just lubed with 205 grade 0 and Krytox 104 on the springs. I feel like that might be enough now. Let's see if we can push this together. Okay. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just make sure these are all seated correctly. And they're looking good. What we're going to do now is just try and work our way out from here, and then it should all go together nicely. This is why you should have pad printed markers as standard. Yes, I agree. As I say that, I'm typing on 205 G0 loops, 60 gram Holy Zeals though, but I've had to adjust them more than thrice to hone it in. I don't mind 205 grade 0 on switches. I'm just not keen on it on stabilizers. I tend to find that it's either too much or it's too little on stabilizers, and Dielectric Grease is just a little bit easier to work with on stabilizer. Plus, it's significantly cheaper. I actually prefer Krytox 205 G2 for stabilizers if I'm going to use anything like that. There we go. Twitch is a time sink? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But that's not a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This is where we're going to already struggle to get these switches in the plate and the PCB. I'm going to have a very sore thumb tomorrow, I can already tell. Yeah, this is going to take some pressure, guys. So I'm having to try and prise the plate up as I push the switch in. I might have to remove that one and just go one switch at a time instead of trying to jump a gap. Just not quite getting this one in flush. There we go. This may take a little bit longer than I'd expected. Didn't know the KBD75 was tray mount. Yes, the V2 is tray mount. I'm not sure about the V1. I think the V1 is tray mount as well, but the V2 is definitely tray mount. Dielectric is like $7 for a whole tube on Amazon. Yes, the Dielectric Grease that I use, I think it was £8 British pounds, which is about $10. It was something like 300 millilitres, so it's fairly chunky. Love the desk mat, kind of reminds me of the subway system in London. Yeah, so this desk mat is for GMK Metropolis, so it's based on that whole kind of city theme. Yeah. Ever considered using a rubber thimble? Yeah, but, well, I don't really like using things made of latex. It dries out my skin a lot, so I tend not to do anything like that. But it's fine. I only build once a week, so a little bit of a challenge every now and again isn't going to be too much of an issue. Solder's more secure than hot swap sockets? Yes, absolutely. And hot swap sockets can fall off over time. They can also damage the more you put switches in and remove them. That switch is not quite seated properly in the plate. There we go. I think that's okay. Yes. There we go. V1 is tray mount as well. I haven't built a V1 since maybe 2016. It's a long time since I built a V1, so I couldn't recall exactly what the mount style was off the top of my head, but thank you very much for confirming that. When I get a decent job, I'd really love a split keyboard. Not many of them all the keys I want though. Yeah, I think the only real split that I've got that I've ever spent time using is the VEA, and I didn't spend enough time using that, to be quite honest. Just ordered Milmax's. Nice. I say nice. I don't think I'd ever want to use Milmax sockets personally. I vastly would rather solder and desolder a board than use hot swap sockets. But that's just my personal preference. Is Brian okay? Brian's fine. He's just taking a little bit of time out at the minute. He didn't feel up to doing the show this week, so we didn't do a show on Thursday. Trust that he will be back this week. I know he's going to see his doctor on Monday, and I'm sure he'll be back and raring to go by the time we get around to Thursday's news show. Okay. is a reason we don't see Bluetooth customers in the hobby. A couple of reasons. One, it's because of licensing. So if you want to make a product that has Bluetooth, you have to pay for proper licenses and everything else. That is not cheap. You have to go through all sorts of kind of rigmarole and kind of testing and everything else to prove that you're compliant with the standards and everything else. That's fine if you're a multinational conglomerate or a large company. It's not so fine if you're someone who's trying to just run a group buy because you want to get your design out there. So there's kind of a few sides to it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do in the community right now. Plus, it's not the easiest thing to build into PCB designs either, as far as I understand it. Just going to try and get this switch in. MX switches use sockets. How long will a Krytox switch loop stay effective? At least 4 or 5 years. I've got some switches that I looped 4 or 5 years ago. They're still absolutely fine. So I can tell you that at least 4 or 5 years. I actually have some Tribosis ones that are slightly older, I think. Okay, so I'm having a problem here getting things clipped into the plate. Try not to bend the plate. And the music stopped. Let's see what's happening with the music. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'd rather use solder as well, definitely. I'm much more of a solder guy than anything else. Okay. This is a very painful build already. We'll get there. If we run out of time, guys, I will do the Fjell build in a day or two. But we shall see how we get on, because it's taking a little bit of time to do this right now. Well-known companies like Ducky over Miller fail to make a proper Bluetooth board and cancel their products. Yeah, the other thing as well is that a lot of cases are solid aluminium and brass, and you're just not going to get a signal out of it for Bluetooth because you effectively turn the PCB into a Faraday cage. Sorry, you turn the case into a Faraday cage that hides the PCB effectively and blocks the signal for it. So there's a lot of other considerations as well. I really don't like doing this, but I think I'm going to have to. There we go. That's looking okay.
Ooh, very nice.
Thank you very much, Zui, for the subscription. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that immensely. More than I could ever tell you, my dude. Okay, I realise that we do have a switch with a bent pin in here as well, so I'm just going to fix that whilst I'm in this spot. We'll grab that later. I think we've got enough for some spares here as well, so we should be okay. There we go. Whew. 13 months, man. 13 months, sweet. Thank you very much, dude. Modern Dolch 2 or Hammerhead? I already have Modern Dolch from the previous round. So I think I'm going to go for Hammerhead out of those two. I'm probably going to get both the light and the dark kits because I can't decide which I like better. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, I'm just checking that all of these switches are as flush as they need to be. Making some progress. Okay. This is the problem with metal plates as well. Significantly stiffer to get your switches in than any of the plastic ones because they just don't have much give to them. Like custom cables, but all my other peripherals are wireless. Plate seems to be tight. These switches are slightly larger than cherry specification. Most plates are cut to cherry specification. So sometimes you do end up with a slight issue of having switches that are difficult to push in. Just like I'm having here. Beginning to wonder if it would have been easier to push all the switches in first and then try and push them into the PCB. That may have been an easy way to do it. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to have to prise up the plate here. I'm not putting any pressure on the PCB when I do this. The PCB is not being touched. It's just the plate on the underside that I'm just lifting up. I've got to make sure that these all sit flush. Just not quite happy with how this is sitting together at the minute, guys. I'm really tempted to try and prise the two apart and push all the switches in afterwards, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll carry on. We'll see how we get on. Double 60 in your CF plate and box switches was a challenge to put in, especially in the middle of number. I can imagine, yeah. Do you use 5 pin for plateless? Yes, you need 5 pins. So this switch is 5 pins on the base. You can see it's got the. It's a really difficult switch to show you actually, but it's got these little switches, pins on the side as well as the pins here. It's got one in the center and then another one on the other side. So it's 5 pin in total. Those are better for plateless builds. Because it means that they sit into the PCB and they're connected to the PCB. The other thing that doesn't help is this PCB is really tight as well. You can hear that the switches are actually clicking in with some significant force on this one. Inks are fat boys as well. Yeah, they are. They are. They're difficult to get in sometimes. I think we're good though. I think we're okay now. I think everything is aligned pretty well. Just checking now, just looking down. Hopefully you guys can see that all of the switches look like the shoulders are the same height on both sides. Everything's looking pretty neat and tidy. So we're going to carry on with the rest. This is where new people's hobby should be going to learn how to build customs. Thank you, man. The trick to building a custom is just taking your time, though, and trying to do things without damaging anything. And if it's not working, slow down, take a minute, come back to it. The issue we're having here is the plate's just not quite gripping onto some of the switches. I'm just going to pull out some of these switches and try and make it align a little bit better. Okay. If there's ever anything you're not happy with when you're doing a build like this, guys, just slow down, take it one step at a time. Try it a little bit slower. There we go. That's looking better there. I'm just going to remove this one as well. Should just go in now. There we go. Okay, that looks much better now in this area, guys. There we go. Okay, good to move on. IDB and Jur 80 are both plateless. Yes, they are. They're both plateless. Yes, I own both of those, and they are both plateless. Just got some NOS vintage blacks. Any recommendations? Was planning to film Lube and Sprint Spock as well as other linears. pretty much what I do with them, dude. I don't do anything differently to vintage switches. I treat them exactly the same as I do with the switches. To be honest, they should be relatively smooth themselves, as they come. They should be relatively smooth because they're vintage. They should have been broken in. The idea of vints though is that they are broken in, that they are used. NOS ones kind of doesn't really make sense to me because they haven't been used. They're kind of just new switches at that point. So I do prefer to have heavily used vintage switches. That's kind of the draw to vintage switches for me. Film switches sound a little bit deeper, usually a little bit more thocky, Huey, so I can see why people like to do it. It also adds a little bit of stability and rigidity to some switches as well. So H1s, for example, they work well with films, some of the switches as well. Just trying to, there we go, prise the plate up around the switches in certain areas. There we go, all looking good there. This switch is just not quite sitting in place. Just not quite flush here on the front. Maybe I'll break them in first. Thank you for the tips. Yeah, I mean, the point of vintage switches is generally that they're heavily used. You're taking them from a really well-used board. You know, they've taken a pounding over their lifetime, and you know they're fully worn in. That's kind of the whole idea behind them in my head. And I kind of don't like new old stock ones because I might as well just buy a new MX Black at that point in my head. Sure, the molds are slightly different pre-1984 as far as we're aware, but I don't think that they were different enough to make that worthwhile. My creams have wobbly tops, wondering if films will make them better. Maybe. I don't like creams with films in. I think that they are too tight. You can only fit certain types of films in them. They're probably a little bit too tight for most films. Aren't vintage switches unevenly used though? Yes, I usually buy 3 or 4 boils worth of vintage switches and pick the most heavily used ones, cherry pick them basically, and then when I clean them out and things like that, I keep them individual. I don't mix them up. I can try to keep the switches that feel good as a switch together, even though I'm taking the switch apart. So I'll always try and make sure I clean them individually. Okay, looking good now. Just need to do the top row and the bottom rows, and then we should be in a good position. There we go. Just seen a load of cherry boards in your office and come back and collect them all after 10 years of hammering. Yeah. If only I could go back 10 years in time and do that to the office at work. Right, we're going to give him stepped caps lock because he hasn't said which he wants. So we're going to go for stepped. If he changes his mind, I can desolder that one switch and come back to it later on. And we know we need to build a 1.25U bottom row. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. That's 1.25U. That's a 1.25U, and this one is a 1.25U. and then we're going to put two 1.5U switches on this side. I will get some keycaps out for that before we do it, just to make sure we're doing the right thing. Oh, there we go. Not sure if you guys heard that one click in then, but that was a real loud click. Breaking switches are lubing is a bit of a misnomer. The two different things. Breaking switches you need to be done before lubing, because if you do it afterwards, the plastic's not grinding against itself as much as it would do normally. So I would very much recommend that you break in a switch after you've lubed it. Sorry, before you lube it. Break in a switch, use it for a couple of weeks, then take it out and lube it. That's exactly what I'm going to do with the double build. Yeah, man, my hands are in pain at the moment. Just going to try and prise up the plate here. There we go. Just make sure it's sat flush. Very, very tight plate. Very, very tight. I kind of like the original roughness creams. That's fair. That's fair. Some people do, some people don't. I made the mistake of not breaking in my creams. Just desolder them, give them a clean with an ultrasonic cleaner, scrape off as much lube as you can, use them in that position, resolder them back into a board, use them in that position for a week or two, and then go from there. I think you'll be just fine, sir. We are now making some good progress. Sorry that this is taking so long, guys. I do apologise. It can't be fun for you guys watching me be really, really slow at a build for whatever reason. You guys want to see me do a flying build, get it done really quick, do 2 builds in one stream. I know exactly what you guys want to see, and I'm really sorry that it's not it today. But we are getting there. We are making progress. Trying to make sure that these switches are fully seated in this plate, because it is a real pain to get these switches in. All looking good so far. Have I seen the Alpine 65? Yes, I have. I think they need to be very careful with that board. Whoops. There's a lot of complexity in that board. I think they need to be really, really careful. I definitely need to see a prototype before it goes to group buy, before I would consider purchasing one. But it could be really interesting. There's a lot of intricacy in the board though, so I'll be surprised if they can meet the price point that they're trying to aim for. And I think that they definitely need to make sure that that's achievable before they start to push the group buy a little bit further. It's just complexity, and it's more that they won't achieve the cost price that they're looking to achieve. As someone who's run a few group buys, I always try and make sure that there is a fallback element to the pricing, so that if things go wrong, there's room to maneuver and there's room to fix things and things like that. I suspect with the way the pricing's gone for that particular board, that hasn't been taken into consideration. There you go, guys. This is my thumb. That's my thumb. It hurts. My other one's not too much better. Anyway, we're almost there now. Just a few more switches to go. There we go. Okay, one for the ISO enter. Need to work out which orientation this needs to be. Is that going to go in? I've got a bent pin. There we go. It's in nicely. Okay. So now we just need to work out what's going to go on with the bottom row. I am going to open up the keycap set now, just so that we can get some keycaps out, and we can make sure that we're putting the switches in the bottom row correctly. I need 3 more switches to go in there. I'm just going to get them to one side, and then I can pop that away. This is GMK Night Runner. The less said about these new GMK boxes, the better. I love my Night Runner set. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the set just yet. We shall see. I mean, like, I've seen it in person. I actually have another set that I've opened up. That's my personal one. Well, they're both personal ones, but yeah, I didn't realise I'd already bought it, and I bought a second one, not realising the first one just hadn't shipped yet. And this is the first one that's come in, and then the other one's in my warehouse at the minute. So the set's kind of interesting. So I've looked at it in person. I kind of like it like this, but I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it on a board. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah. First thing to do is just to make sure we've got the bottom row in all the correct places. So we're just going to fit a 6.25U bottom row to here, and then we're going to put 2 1.5U keys in there just to make sure that everything is going to work correctly as we expect it to be. Hold on. So I just want to make sure that I'm putting the spacebar in the right place. There we go. That sounds kind of nice. Okay, so that's in place now. You can see that the spacebar switch is now in place. And then what we're going to do is grab 2 1.5U keys. Look how bright the accents are in this. Like, they're not even showing up on the camera properly. Let me show you one of these. Let's see if the camera will even focus on this colour. That is really bright. It's like, it is day glow. It is neon yellow. It's really bright. Like, genuinely, it's really bright. Like, it reflects on my hand. It's that bright. Look. Can you guys see that? That's how bright it is. I'll show you guys one of the alphas up close as well, so you can see. I believe they are CR, yes, and then the yellow is just day glow yellow. This set does not have UK ISO as far as I'm aware, no. It has partial UK ISO, so it has these 2 keys for UK ISO and the shift key, but it doesn't have the 2 and the 3 as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird match, and I do wish designers would stop doing that and just kind of either go for terminal ISO or for UK ISO or for whichever version of ISO they want to. I think it would be much more preferential if we did that. More people in the hobby would appreciate it if we took that step anyway, I think. Okay, so there you go, you can see we've got now the bottom row in place. That's all nice and evenly spaced. That's where the switches should be. I'm just going to put the arrow key on there just to make sure that it does work out correctly. And then we know that that whole bottom row is correct. So there we go, guys. That whole bottom row is correct. Now we can remove the caps. We've got the switches in the correct holes. Or I'm going to hope we can without pulling the switches out. He says, there we go, that's one. side. We will need those later on. Under harsh lighting though, it is really bright, dude. Like Hugh, you say that they're not bright and they're under harsh lighting. It's day glow yellow. If you imagine a highlighter in yellow, that's the colour of these. Just taking these off gently so I don't pull the switches out and have to put them back in and make them in a different order. There we go. Okay, so that is the board now ready for soldering. And that does mean that we need to check and make sure that we haven't got any bent pins. So I'm just going to go switch by switch, making sure that the switches are fully pressed in, fully flush with the PCB. And you can kind of see that they are all flush, looking nice and neat and tidy. And the same from this angle as well. Oh, apart from this switch, because I've just knocked it. There you go. And then the same from the sides as well. So all nice and flush. All looking good from that perspective. Now we just need to check that we've got no bent pins. So I'm just going to go switch by switch. Just make sure that I've got no bent pins. Make sure the switch looks like it's protruding through the PCB as much as the rest of the switches are. That one looks like it's slightly off on one side. There we go. Just want to make sure they're all nice and flush. Okay. And then we're just checking for bent pins all across the rest of the board. Just make sure we've got 2 pins protruding for each switch, otherwise once you've soldered it you then end up having to desolder it. Okay, yeah, 2. Always a good idea to do this before you solder, guys. Okay, almost there now. Almost all checked. Okay, all looking good. No more bent pins. So that means we are now ready to solder the board and put the board together and make sure it's all got the solder electrical connections that it needs. And this does mean that we're going to now move to the side of the stream where you guys can ask me any question you like. If I turn my soldering iron on the wall. There we go. So, what I want you to do, guys, I have no idea. This is just... oh, this is the Prodigy. Why has it moved over to this? Why has it moved over to that? Hold on. Let me fix the music, guys. Let me fix the music. There you go. I knew I recognised the music. It was Prodigy, but there we go. Huey, what the fuck is this music? For some reason it picked something off my personal playlist instead of playing on the actual Stream Beats playlist. I don't know how it had moved over to that, but it did. Anyway, we're back on the lo-fi stuff. There we go. Okay, so what we've got now is the section of the stream where you guys can ask me any question. It can be anything that you like. You can tag me at TopClack to ask a question. You can ask me about soldering. You can ask me about keyboards. You can ask me about cars. You can ask me about my day job. You can ask me about my personal life. Anything you want to ask, now is the time, guys. All you need to do is tag me at TopClack. Whilst I'm soldering the board, I will be as completely open and honest with you as I can be. As long as the question is Twitch safe to answer and I'm personally comfortable answering it, I will absolutely do my best to answer the questions to the best of my possible ability. So you can ask me anything you like, anything at all. Just do at TopClack and I will answer your questions, guys. That's all you need to do. All you need to do, just at TopClack. At TopClack, have you ever daily drivered a keyboard with neither an ANSI nor an ISO enter key? Yes, I have. I used to use when I first got into custom keyboards, I used to have an old keyboard that wasn't even mechanical, that had a BAE enter, a big ass enter. So yes, and I would also not class the AEK, the UK AEK keyboards ISO, because it's that slim, narrow ISO key. I would probably not class that as ISO personally, because it's slightly different. I'd call it ISO adjacent, maybe. So yeah, I have dailied boards that are not ISO. I tend not to daily ANSI ones, but I have been at my workshop for a couple of weeks now using the Allison prototype from Mr. Petrov. I've been dailying that for a short while. And to be honest, I've been enjoying it. It's the first time I've used an ANSI board for more than a couple of hours and enjoyed it. Okay, next question. Prodigy in your playlist, nice. Yeah, I know that I shouldn't have let it do that. I need to make sure it doesn't do that again. But thank you very much for calling it out, guys, because I just recognised the music and didn't even think anything twice. But yes, when we put it on YouTube, we'll get a copyright strike, but we don't monetize YouTube, so it's fine. It's all fine. It shouldn't be an issue. Okay, what is your day job? So my day job, I work for a financial institution working technical change. Technically, you could call me a program manager or a product owner, relatively senior. I've done that for a number of years, looking after technology in branches, looking after technology in data centers. I'm not particularly technically minded myself, but I tend to manage teams that are, and it goes pretty well. I actually just start a new role on Monday. The bank's moved me around a little bit, and I'll be doing something new on Monday, which is in kind of like a direct response to COVID, but I can't really talk much about it. But yeah, it should be an interesting new role. I'm looking forward to the challenge. It looks like it's going to be quite heavily intensive, so we'll see how that goes. What was the tallest mountain in the world before Mount Everest was discovered? It was still Mount Everest. Just because it hadn't been discovered didn't mean to say it wasn't the tallest. So it was still Mount Everest. When Gundam stream? When I send it to you and you build it. That's when as we. I have some old Gundams. I don't even know what they are. I just liked the models, so I bought them without having any knowledge about what they were or what they were related to. I kind of like robots, and that's as kind of far as it went. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know if they're popular ones, but I've got 10 or 12 of them, and I should send them to you to build at some point, Zoe. I don't even know what they are. They're in the garage at the minute. I'll have to dig them out. Maybe I'll dig them out and show them on stream one week, and you guys can advise me. Favourite music genre? I have really eclectic tastes. I like everything from, as you heard, The Prodigy, to, you know, kind of alternative rock, Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like things like The Doors, Jim Morrison, that kind of stuff. My taste doesn't really have any boundaries. I used to be a big Wyclef Jean fan years ago. I haven't listened to him for a long time, but I did like him a lot at one point. Yeah, I don't really have a favourite genre. I just like, if I like the song, I like the song. If I don't, I don't. And that's how I judge it. I don't really go for a genre or anything like that. It's more about just whether I like the particular song. I do have a soft spot for beatboxing though. So people like Rizal, people like Tom Thumb, I have a real soft spot for that kind of thing. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Why? Yes, because it tastes good, and there's nothing. If pizza's designed to be able to have a multitude of toppings, if you like it, then you should put it on a pizza. There are exceptions to that. You should never use a barbecue sauce. I think that ruins a pizza. But for me personally, yeah, pineapple's fine, absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with having something sweet with something, you know, savoury. It works all the time. There's a reason why pineapple is used in sweet and sour and all kinds of other dishes, and you know, I think it works perfectly on a pizza. It's a good topping to have, in moderation. You don't want to cover it in pizza. Cover the pizza. What mic arm do you use for your Rode? So this is just a standard boom arm. I do have a Rode arm that I never got around to fitting on this desk, but I'll be using that in my new streaming setup when I move to the warehouse in the next couple of weeks. I'm just waiting for some final parts to be delivered and then build a new desk there, and I'll be streaming from there. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after or the week after that. So by the end of July I should be moving all my streaming for both Top Clack and for build streams over to the new workshop. I hope. That's the plan anyway. What are we drinking tonight? Just Iron Brew. Just a soft drink, Iron Brew. Nothing major there. Just a standard soft drink here in the UK. Delicious. It's good. Is it possible to check the night runner spacebars for warpage? Yeah, remind me when we come to put keycaps on the board and we'll absolutely take a look at that. Why can't you get an iron? As in an iron 165? I'm sure you can, dude. You just need to be quick when it comes to extras. But I'm sure you can get one. I'm positive that you can get an iron 165 if that's what you mean. Wallet Burner says, if you were stuck on a desert island with only one album and a way to play it, what would it be and why? Probably Foo Fighters' Colour and the Shape, and the reason for that is because it was kind of the album that introduced me to music. Before that album came out, I wasn't really a fan of music other than like what was on the pop charts or what my parents listened to, and when that came out, it kind of changed my whole world a little bit. And I realised that there was other genres of music out there, and I listened to a lot of things from there. That's what introduced me then to Nirvana a few years prior. It also introduced me to a whole range of other bands as we went through the rest of the 90s and things like that. So I would probably pick that album. My cheat answer to that album would be I would listen to the entire soundtrack to the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game. That would be my cheat answer. Depleted Vespian says, if you were to go back in time to the IBM meeting where the enhanced layer was finalised and had the authority to make one change to it, what would you have changed? It would have been ISO. There you go. That's what it would do. A standard ISO layer, that layout, that's what we would do. KVS says, I was thinking of doing an experiment with my Key 65 by cutting the foam on the alphas, which will only give it to the foam on the mods. What do you think? Try it. Let me know how it goes. Yeah, I'm all down for that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely try it. Keyboard science is great, so try it. Do some kind of testing. Maybe have a control test, a before and after test, so you can see how it works. And yeah, let us know how that goes. Do some testing. See if you like it. It kind of reminds me of when I used to go through a phase of having different switches on my modifiers to on my alphas, and I tended to linearize the alphas and tactile the modifiers. That was kind of like a big thing for me at one point. I haven't done it in a very long time now, but I did used to really enjoy having builds that were like that. I'd probably hate it now. Probably detest doing it now. In fact, I might dig out a board that's got that on it actually, just to see if I do hate it or not. Do you think you'll ever lose interest in keyboards? Probably not. I've been into them for a long time. I enjoy them. Interest is something that I really lose in hobbies. Once I gain an interest in something, I tend to retain that interest for a very long time. So I can't see me losing interest in this hobby anytime soon. How many boards are you taking to the London meet? Oh, hang on, wait, I've missed some. Rechap says, do you prefer any non-MX style switches? I really like Brown Alps. I've actually just bought another 150 Brown Alps because I really like them. So yes, I really like Brown Alps. How many boards are you taking to the London meet, says Zapri? Probably 4 or 5. I'm not going to take too many. Probably Lodestone, JO1 Revision. They'll definitely be there. Maybe a couple of others. I haven't decided yet. How long has this been a hobby? What got you started? So I got started with a poker, and then I moved to what was it called now? Some type of game read board after that, and I kind of got into it because I was using a computer a lot and wanted a nice typing experience, and I was just kind of like, how can I improve my typing experience? And that kind of dragged me into the rabbit hole, as it were. That was probably around 2014. Maybe a little bit earlier, about 5 or 6 years ago now. The first group I joined, I can remember, was SA Calm Depths, which I still own to this day. Matt Newton says, have you ever eaten something so spicy that it ruined the rest of your day and evening? If so, what was it and what was the situation? Yes. So I remember once eating to impress someone, yes, they were female, a chili. I was about 18, and they had some fresh chilies. They were making like dinner. I can't remember what it was, at a friend's house. So this was in student days, and I was dared to eat one of the fresh chilies. And growing up, whilst I like spicy food now, growing up, my parents weren't big fans of spicy food. So we never really had it, and that was the first time I'd ever seen a raw chili. Never mind tried one. And to try and impress this girl, I ate the whole thing, and it made me sweat profusely. It made me feel uncomfortable. It set my throat alight, and it was not a pleasant experience. I tried to quench it with beer and milk, and you name it. It just wasn't happening. Yeah, that was not a pleasant experience. The end result of the night was that after about an hour it kind of wore off and I was fine. But for that hour I probably just made a fool of myself, an absolute fool. But hey, this is why we live and learn, right? This is why we live and learn. So Sarah, if you're watching, I'm sorry I ate that chili. She's not watching. Next question comes from Kel Villan. He says, "Hi Jay, what's your favourite place of vacation in the UK and why?" Growing up, we used to go to a lot of places on the North Sea coast. So we'd go to Scarborough and Mablethorpe. They bring back a lot of memories, places around there. Personally, though, I really like doing city breaks, whether that's in the UK or Europe. I really like places like Durham. I really like places like Chester. Places like that. If I was going to go anywhere, though, probably Devon, Torquay, Cornwall. Those places are really nice. Scotland's great if I want to go on a driving holiday. The UK's just got some great spots to go to. Okay, you guys need to keep up with the questions because I'm only half done solving this. It's taking me ages to solve it today. I'm not usually this slow. Did you get in on the Heine TQL? Yes, I did. I woke up to an invoice the next morning, which I was excited about. So yes, I've got in on the Heine TQL. Make sure you tag me, guys, if you're asking questions. Next one comes from Depleted Vespa. He says, "Okay, besides making ISO enter the default, I'd probably want to make sure that I'd got right-hand modifier keys, like you can see here, like F keys on the left-hand side. Sorry, just because I genuinely use those a lot and I really enjoy having them there. So I'd probably make that the other choice. Depleted Vespa. That's the other thing that I would do." Manson SD says, "How many keyboards are too much for you?" N+1 is the correct number, so however many I have now, plus one more is the correct number to have. Any mathematicians, tell me what the end result to that is. When does N+1 become too much? Is this one of those P versus MP questions? Maybe. Something Gifted says, "What solder are you using at the minute? Is it the same for every keyboard?" I'm using Kester solder right now. I can't really show you it, but it is Kester solder. It's 6040, which means it is leaded. I tend to use the same solder for most keyboards. This is 0.7 millimeters thick in terms of its diameter, and it is a Roycin cord, which means it's easier to solder with. It's got some flux in there. I tend to use the same solder for everything because I tend to buy it in bulk once or twice a year, and I use about £2 of it a year. Doing one build every single Sunday, I use about £2 of it a year. Mac Mutant says, "Wow, there's always a girl and alcohol involved." Yeah, such was my youth. Okay. Yeah, such was my youth. I spent a lot of time drinking far too much alcohol when I was 16, 17, 18, but I enjoyed it at the time, and to be honest I probably wouldn't have changed anything if I could go back and do it again. I would probably just have left it exactly how it all happened. Top Clack, fuck, marry, kill, Bill Cosby, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump. Trick question. The real answer to that is get rid of them all and marry you. That's an unfair question to ask. That's an unfair question to ask in public. That's the kind of question that you ask me after we've sat down in a bar and we've had 6 beers each, and we just ordered the second round of chasers. That's the kind of question you ask me then. Did you win the public raffle for the Heine TKL? Yes, I did. Yes. Yes. Is there a blast plate option for the J01? No, but the plate files will be open, so if you wanted to get a brass plate, you could absolutely.
Very nice.
Ooh, very nice. Thank you, Moving Mad. Thank you very much for the subscription. He says, oh, hi. So thank you very much for that, dude. 2-month streak. Thank you very, very much for that, and welcome to the Top Clack family. I genuinely appreciate it. The Nerd Club. Okay. Next question comes from M56. He says, beer or cider? Favourite brand? Beer more than cider. I only like cider when it's really warm outside. If it's cider, I've got a big thing for Recorder Leg. Really, really enjoy those. For beer, I couldn't pick a favourite. I have too many that I enjoy. I tend to prefer an ale, so something quite stodgy as an ale. But, you know, I'm kind of open to pretty much anything when it comes to beer. I will always try new ones, never really turn it down. I really do like a good beer. Okay. Just making sure we don't have another switch there. Okay. What did you pick for the Heine TKL? I went for wing keyless. Oh gosh, look how my thumb's gone. It's gone bright orange now. I think I burst a lot of capillaries pushing it in. It's not really showing it on the camera, but the end of my thumb is kind of like an orange colour. I think I burst a lot of capillaries. It's going to bruise. Oh well. So for the Heine TKL, I went for champagne in colour, wing keyless, and I went for an FR4 plate, but I'm probably going to get a carbon fibre one cut. As far as I'm aware, the board does support the standard Jane plate layout, but I'll wait for Heine to release his plate file specifically so I can get something cut that matches the board itself. But yeah, I'm probably going to go carbon fibre. I also got the numpad as well, just because, why not? I've actually bought quite a few boards this week, because I bought that. I also bought the Petrichor from James AKB, who's in chat somewhere, who's a very good friend of mine. And then I've also just bought a Matrix Noah and a Matrix Able as well. I also bought a Model M earlier on this week, because it was really cheap and it looked great, so I thought I'd pick that up. And I also bought a server keyboard as well, so a server rack keyboard specifically for the keycaps. So it's got an old cherry board. It's got some OG double shot cherry keycaps, 1800 style layout, but it's actually a server rack compact board, and it just happens to have cherry MX blacks in it and vintage cherry keycaps. So that's going to be for the Petrichor, which is an 1800 style board. What's the most useless talent you can have? I can solve Rubik's Cube in about 5 minutes. I taught myself how to do it when I was about 11 or 12. It took me nearly 2 years to learn, and then once I'd learned, I have my own method of doing it. I tried to learn some of the faster ones and just couldn't get my head around it. So the most useless talent I have is I can solve the Rubik's Cube using a personal method in about 5 minutes. It's not particularly quick, it's not particularly good, but it works just about. I don't understand any of the notation for Rubik's Cubes though. I don't get how that works. I've never taken the time to learn properly. I just have a method that works for me. What's the most disappointing keyboard you've ever bought or built? Dora67. Zapri, did you ever learn a musical instrument? I tried. I can play a little bit on keyboard, I can play a little bit on drums. If you want to do something like 16th beat or something like that, I'm okay with that. I can play a couple of songs on guitar, but nothing major. And when I was 11, I took violin lessons for about 6 months, so I can play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on violin, and that's about it. Although I haven't done it for 20 years, so it probably sounds terrible. But no, I can't play any other instruments outside of that, and I can't play anything to any kind of reasonable standard. Nothing I would ever be comfortable sharing on stream. What's the meaning of life? 42 is the meaning of life. What's the cheapest keyboard you own? I've got a $5 Dell Rubber Dome. That's the cheapest keyboard I have. How will we play it off cool to chat after you tell them that I won the giveaway? Don't want to make it obvious that I was always going to win. So Jaycon, just keep quiet. Don't put up anything to chat, and then when it comes up, no one will know that you've had this conversation with me, and it'll just be fine. So, Matt Newton says, you mentioned being moved to a new role to support COVID-19. Are you guys moving other stuff around too? We are. Can you talk about the messaging and how people are generally feeling? Trying to make sure people are okay, even though times are challenging. I have to be careful what I say, but the company I work for has been very cognizant of how the members of staff are feeling. Lots of people finding it difficult, and they are being very receptive to that whilst doing what's best for customers. So I'm very happy with how they're treating it as a company, yes. Except boards that you designed, what is the all-time favourite? Any all-time favourite Switch as well? You could ask me that question every week and I'm going to give you a different answer. So this week, if I had to pick right now, man, I don't even know. Favourite board right now that I'm using, that's not one of my designs or anything else. Man, I genuinely don't know. Like, every time you ask me this question, it's going to be a different answer because it's all going to depend on what I feel at the time. Like, the Soda Board 77 is something I've been using quite a lot this past week and liking it. You will not be able to find any information on that, I don't think. Go hit up Sodaman Pappy in the UK Discord if you want to know more. In terms of Switch, favourite Switch of the week, probably MX... yeah, probably vintage MX Blacks on a particular board I've been using for a couple of days, but that's only for this week, and it'll change probably by tomorrow when I pick something else up and use it. So it's not an end-to-end question. That's going to change. You could ask me probably in 2 hours, and after I've typed on something else, I'll probably give you a different answer. Hello, it's DNL. So it says, hello, it's DNL. This is the guy that we're building the board for. He's here. Welcome, man. You didn't answer to my message that I saw before I was streaming, so I hope I've done the caps up the way you wanted. Oh, you want full cups? Bugger. Have I already soldered it? Yeah, I've already put your step caps in. I will fix it after the stream. I already put step caps in because you weren't here to decide. But the case looks good. You'll see it in a few minutes, dude. Yes. Top Clack says, do you always, something gifted says, do you always use GMK keycaps? Thoughts on other profiles, materials? I don't always use GMK. I prefer GMK. It's probably my favourite keycap manufacturer right now. I like Cherry Profile the best. I think Cat's a close second, but I only have one set of Cat, and that stays on the same board that it's on all the time. I used to be a big fan of SA, but I've moved away from that a lot. It's just too tall these days, and I struggle to use it without getting RSI or other issues. So yeah, I just prefer GMK. I tend to I do like other manufacturers that make PBT GMK as well. So Cherry Profile in PBT. I kind of enjoy that too, but yeah, it's going to be Cherry Profile or it's going to be Cat if I had to pick either. And Cherry's going to come first. I also kind of, as an outsider, like HSA, and I can't wait for more sets of HSA to be produced and ship. I definitely want to see more of that coming soon. Next question comes from Lansky. He says, will you or I win the Kippura tonight? Is there a Kippura on tonight? I haven't seen it, but if there's one on, then I'll definitely take a look. Do you have a go-to spring weight? My noodle fingers can't type on anything over 62 grams, says Tommy. Yeah, I prefer 72 to 78 grams. That kind of range is kind of my favourite. Have you owned any Infinikey PBTs yet? Yes, I've got Sanctuary, Bread, and I've got Katakana as well. So those are the ones I have. I've got white and black coming in as well. I think that's it for questions. I think we've caught up to questions. HSA sounds most interesting, to be honest. Just a shame there's not much in it yet. Yeah, that's true. But I think it needs to be proven profile. I'm glad it's moving slower than something like the Cat, because whilst I really enjoy Cat, we haven't seen the manufacturing is proven yet, and we saw a lot of issues with Milkshake, so I'm kind of hoping that it goes a lot better than that and slower. I think slower is sometimes a better way to go with these new profiles. I also kind of like, as an outsider, like the SS profile. Okay, so there we go, guys. We have now soldered the board all together. I think we've got one more question to ask here. General thoughts on Alps. Really like Alps. Yeah, I'm a big fan of tactile Alps. Don't like linear Alps, don't like clicky Alps, but tactile Alps, I'm all over it. Jay confirmed Weeb if he has Katakana. It was actually a gift from Brian, so it just happened. There. Didn't a few PGMK sets just ship with bent spacebars? I believe 9009 did, yes. But I didn't buy into that round. I already had it, so I didn't buy into it. Kipura colorway would go nice with a champagne tiny TKL. Alansky, DM me if it's already live. I need to enter that, so DM me on Twitch if it's already live. Not Twitch, on Discord. It seems like I've got a ton of messages actually. I should check that there's nothing that I need to look at. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're okay. Right, okay, you guys have asked a few more questions. Let's answer these quickly before we test the board and make sure everything's working. Is Brian doing okay? He was sick on Thursday. Yeah, he's going to go check out the doctors on Monday. I think he should be okay. He might be on the show this week or not. Either way, we will do a show this week on Thursday. So, yeah, it's going to happen, but we'll see how that goes. Which keyset colorway do you own the most copies of, irrespective of profile? Honeywell. I've got Honeywell in 3 different profiles, and I think I've got 9 sets of it. So, yeah. New GMK cases are disappointing. Agree. So there we go. Cool. Okay, so the next thing to do is to test that this PCB now works and all of the keys work now we've soldered it together. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty nice. Inks on brass, always a good look. So the next thing to do is test it. So I'm going to steal the USB-C cable from there. I'm going to plug it in here. You can see the LEDs light up on the bottom. That's good. And I should be able to show you VIA, which should be on your screen now. I'm not going to configure this particularly. Let's just change it to match the layout that we've got. So we've got the ISO enter, we've got split left shift, we've got standard space bar, we've got the right mods as... Why is that not giving me drop down option? Is it? Go 2 times 1.5 U. I think that's it. Backspace is full. Yeah, that's all looking good. Key map. Let's just make sure this is the right one. So that should be. Is that under special? Non-US backslash. That one there. That should be non-US hash. And then up here we'll. Hold on. Yeah, we'll leave that as the layer. Okay, looking good from that. Okay, let's jump over to the key tester and make sure everything is working okay. So we'll flip over to the tester matrix and we'll press the keys one by one, and you should see them light up. If it lights up, it means the switch is working. Helps if I don't miss one. All looking good there. Thoughts on XDA? It's okay. It's too flat for me as XDA. I'm not really a big fan of it. I actually have a couple of sets of XDA that I might give away at some point. Okay. All looking good there. Caps lock's working. Okay, so this is one thing I do really like about VIA. It just makes things like this so much easier. Although it doesn't stop the Windows key working. Spacebar's working, and there as well. Okay, and arrow keys. There we go. The whole board is working. Everything is looking good. So we can now get rid of VIA, knowing that the keyboard works. And DNL, if you're watching, dude, when it comes to you using this particular board, you will be able to reprogram any of the keys using VIA. You just need to download the latest version, and away you go. Plug your keyboard in, USB-C, and it will work. Own anything in MT3 profile? I do have some MT3 profile keycaps, yes. I'm waiting on Susawatari at the minute. That should hopefully be really nice as well. Wish someone would run Honeywell in Infinity or Cat. Shh, don't give people my ideas. I watch this space on Honeywell for Cat. I'm just so busy at the minute. I love this feature in VIA. It's really useful. Really, really useful. DNL, if you're there, man, I hope this is okay. He asked a question earlier on that we missed. He said, are you happy that you don't have to do LEDs this time? Last time I built a board for him, he made me do LEDs. It was a pain. I hated it. This time, no LEDs. It's good. It's good. Okay, so now we've done that, it's time to put the rest of the board together and take a look at how it all clips in. So, DNL, here is your case. It looks pretty good. The anodization is pretty good. It matches really well. There's no marks on the outside of the case that I can see. I've had a good look over it. Anything you see is just dust or specks. There's nothing here. There are some marks on the inside. You can see just in here there are some hook marks, but they are well on the inside, so I think that's completely acceptable. And just down here as well, it's completely acceptable. Got to be on the inside. So now the job is to take this apart, and then we can take a look at it. How does CF compare to PC? To CF is a little bit firmer than polycarbonate, but it offers a more crisp sound. Polycarbonate is kind of like a bit of a dull sound for a plate material. CF is a little bit more crisp because it's firmer. It kind of sounds similar to brass, but with zero ping, so you don't have any of that horrible ping noise that you get with brass a lot of times. This board uses CF, by the way. Should now come apart. He says this one screw just needs a little tweak. There we go. Okay, so you can see some anodization issues just here on the inside, but again, it's on the inside of the case. It's not visible from the outside. This is pretty bad, but it's not visible from the outside. It does go completely away, so understandable that they're there. They are hidden. It could be worse. I think it's acceptable. It wouldn't make me want to class it as B stock or anything, for example. Okay. Base looks pretty good. Just the hook marks on the internals there, and I think that's pretty much what these slots are designed for, just to be there to hang it up when you're putting it together. So I think that's okay. Board's going to just sit on here like so, and we'll screw that down in a minute. Next job is to just make sure we take apart the just so the underglow works. We can just take the film off of this, if I can actually get my nail underneath it. There we go. So I'm just going to peel this off. And this goes on both sides, so we'll just take this off now. Okay. Zapri says, to repeat Leavan Ember's question, why don't you press down all the switches at once to test them? I just like to go individually. There's no reason why you can't press them all at once, but I don't know. I just like to do it individually because then I know, and I'm going one by one, and I know what's happening. It just works better for me that way. Two builds this stream. It depends on how long it takes us to finish this one off. We may get the second build done. Yes, we'll have a look at it the time once this one's finished. I think I've been streaming for about 2 hours now, something like that. So we'll see. Yeah, I was so lucky to get in Discord and said I really wanted a brutal. Nice. I've got a blue Brutal 60 from the original prototype round, and it is a nice board. Okay, I'm struggling to get this this layer off. Fjell speedrun, maybe. There's no switches to lube. It should be relatively easy. It shouldn't be as difficult to put together as the plate. I don't need to program it because it's already programmed. So maybe we could do a Fjell speedrun. Maybe we could do a fail speed run. Just a reminder, guys, as well, there is a giveaway today for those people that are active in chat. The time lasts 15 minutes. As long as you're active every 15 minutes or so, you will be entered into that giveaway. And it's just going to be drawn at random. I'm not going to announce when it's going to happen. It's just going to happen, but that's just a reminder that that is going to happen at some point in the stream. Okay. I'm just going to screw the board together now. And then once we've done this, we'll put the rest of the case around the top. So I'm just going to tip out all of our screws here, because we have got a few. Man, they give you a lot of screws. Pretty sure these black ones are what is to hold the board together. So there we go. So I'm just going to screw that down. And I'm just going to make sure we've got one in each of these screw points, and there's a lot of them, so I'm going to make sure I haven't missed any. So I've got 2 in. I'm just going to go row by row, making sure that they're all in place. Peter, looks like it's your hardest job today. Yeah, you didn't see me putting the switches in, man. The switches into this board, they've ruined my thumbs. My thumb is, like, you can't really see it on here, but my thumb's kind of like orange, where I burst all the capillaries. You kind of maybe just see it on stream, but it's kind of sore. I'm going to have a blister there tomorrow. Speedrunning and key building should be a thing. Man, I think quality in keyboard building is more important. Tasty, tasty. What are you giving away? It's a surprise. I will show what I'm giving away after I've given it away. It's pretty cool, though. It's not like a full board or anything, but it's pretty cool. I think it is, anyway. Tray mount sucks in general. It depends on what you want. Some people prefer a firmer typing feel, and that's exactly what tray mount gives you. So if you prefer a firmer typing mount, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's entirely your preference, and you might enjoy tray mount. They always sound really solid, so, you know. I don't think there's any such thing as a right or wrong answer. It's all down to the individual, whatever they like. Okay, have I missed any of these screw points now? I'm just double checking to make sure I haven't missed any screws in here. Looks like there's supposed to be a screw point there, but there isn't actually one. So I think that's it. Okay, that looks good.
Ooh, very nice.
Thank you very much, Chet, for the 5 months of subscriptions. Thank you very much, dude. I genuinely appreciate it. It is very nice, as the description just said a second ago. Okay, just gonna try and fit this around here, just like so. And we're going to put the top case on. Going to flip the board over, and then we're just going to screw it back together. First thing I'm going to do is put one screw in one corner, just lightly tighten that up. It's not going to be fully tight. I'm going to come over back to this corner over here. Again, I'm just going to screw it in lightly, not fully, and then what I'm going to just do is make sure everything's nice and neatly aligned on the case. And then once I'm happy and satisfied that everything's aligned as best I can get it, I'm just going to tighten that screw down, come back to this side, double check that, tighten that screw down, and then put the rest of the screws in, going diametrically opposed, just to make sure we've got even pressure across the board. Don't worry, DNL, don't feel bad. It's part of the build sometimes. These switches are sometimes tight into the board, so I would not worry about it at all, dude. Are we still playing Stream Beats? Is this... What the hell is going on? Why is Stream Beats not playing? I have no idea what it keeps doing this, guys, because that is not what I was expecting it to be. Let me get the music back. Why is it doing this? I don't understand what it's doing. I'm setting the playlist to play. I'm setting it on play all. Loop playlist. There we go. There we go. Hopefully that's good. Okay, so now the board's all put together, guys. It's looking pretty good. Let's pick up these screws before we scratch anything. DNL, these will go back in the bag for you as well, so you've got plenty of spares if you need them for anything. There is screws here. Plenty of replacements should you lose any. Drum and bass playlist, please. No, I can't break Twitch's terms of service. So I have to use something like Stream Beat Service or something like that. Wait, where did my browser go? Did I minimize that? There. Okay. Time to just pop the feet on the bass. I have a clip R3 and 2 R4s incoming, but I can't type on non-split boards, so they likely won't stay long. Ah man, the good boards. Where am I from? It says Cover Boja. I'm from the UK. I live in the UK. I'm streaming from the UK right now. So there we go. Carpool for the loss. The music got better. Yeah, I have to be careful with what we play though. I don't know why. Oh gosh, that's painful. Oh man, I actually have got a blister now. I actually have got a blister. Can you guys see that? There is actually a blister forming underneath the surface of my skin. Can you guys see it? Good job I don't use my thumb in typing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hoping to get a tinned as well. I'm hoping that I'll get one. Praying that I'll get one. Okay. There we go, all put together now. Time for some keycaps. So I did chuck some of the keycaps that we need just in here, so I'm just going to bring these back out for a second. I think that was it as well. We need the ISO enter. I would normally let you guys vote on whether to use accents or not, but I'm really not sure I want to use these bright coloured keys. So I'm just going to take the executive decision and not use them, and you're going to get an accentless board. Okay. There we go. I think that's everything we need from here. From these two
very nice.
And this. Hopefully we can switch over to the other tray in a second. Just want to make sure I've got all the keys from here. Thank you very much, I Love Chilitas, for the subscription. That is now 4 month streak. It says another one. Now give JO1. JO1 soon, man. JO1 soon. Wait until after the build stream and the interest check's gone live, and then you might be able to buy one. Okay, I think that's everything we need from this side at the moment. We will need some modifiers, but we'll come back to those at the end. We'll need some around here. But let's get the rest of the alpha cluster sorted first. Again, I'm not going to use any of the brightly coloured accents, but this is GMK Night Runner. Do you prefer a right blocker or a no blocker on a 65-75%? I prefer a blocker. What I actually prefer is to have it exploded like this. That's actually my preference, but if you can't do that, then definitely put a blocker in place. Liam says, I'm back and active. Well, thank you for being active, dude. Please give JO1 discount for JO2 buyers. Sadly, I can't do that. I'd have to charge. What I'd have to do is charge non-JO2 buyers more, which is a different way of putting it, and that's not going to happen, I'm afraid. What do you think of F-Rollers 96 key layout? Yeah, UK78 had that, and I have 2 of those, I think, maybe 1. I think I might sold the second one. Can't quite remember. Cipher layout, yes. Cipher's an 1800. It's not a 96 key. That's an F-Rollers 1800. Yeah. almost there now, guys. Excited for the JO1 revision one? Yeah, thank you, man. Hoping you can get one. I think this should be relatively easy to get. I think we're going to do 100 of them, so it should be relatively easy to get. I don't think it's going to be like a 2-second job or anything like that. I think I have time. I also want to try and discourage bots as well. So we're probably going to do where I'll shut the store down for a couple of hours, and then you'll need a password, which I'll have some like really simple, easy trivia to do to get access to the store to order one. We do need step caps. I will fix this for DNL. You weren't here, so I did take the executive decision to put step caps on there, but I will fix that for you before I ship the board to you tomorrow. We will fix that. Where do we see these JO1? That's a JO1 just there. The JO1 is going to go, the revision of it is going to go into interest check in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm going to be building one on stream next week or the week after. I'm just waiting for some switches to come. All the parts are here. I've got everything now, the gaskets and everything else. Just need to wait on a couple of parts, and which is just the switches basically, and then I can build that. So have they fixed the GM cases so they don't get all key scrambled? If you scroll back through the video, this was actually kind of unscrambled when I opened it. Like, I opened this on air live, and it was pretty okay. It was pretty fine. Why no mod color tilde key? I don't know if it has one. We'll have a look. If it does, we might change it. We'll see. Yeah, sorry I didn't get your message. It's fine, man. It's fine. If you want me to change it, just DM me and let me know, and I will change it afterwards. Alansky has messaged me. Does that mean that the school time not live yet? 7:30 p.m. PT. Oh, and it's open for 12 hours. Okay, cool. That's fine, because I can do it when I get up in the morning. That's fine. Excellent. Is that right? Yes. Where am I? There we go. Okay, we need the rest of our arrow cluster in here. Just like so. And then, I mean, these can go in pretty much anywhere. I'm just going to put keycaps in here for now, guys. You can tell me they're wrong or whatever. It's fine. It's the demonstration build, so I'm just going to pop these in here for now. I just need one more foot in there. Where are we going to go? Let's go for end. There we go. There we go, guys. That is the board built. You can see where all my solder splashed on the mat. That's fine, we can clean it later. This, guys, is the KBD75 V2 with GMK Night Runner. ISO layout for DNL. I think that looks pretty smart. It kind of works with the dark case, right? Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. All working, all looking good. USB port isn't the neatest, but it's not terrible. Go on, focus, camera. There you go. It's not terrible, but it's not the neatest. But for the price of the board, I think that's pretty alright. Let's pause the music, and I'll take off my headphones, and we can do a little typing test to make sure everything sounds okay. That's going to be the next thing. I think the mods could be darker, but I think it looks good. I kind of like it. Let's zoom in a little bit. So there we go, and let's see what this sounds like. Try and get close to the microphone. The microphone's just here. I don't think I've been typing enough to win. We'll see. We'll see. Love Night Runner. I think it's a nice looking set. I wasn't keen on it when I first unboxed it, and now I'm looking at it like this. I think I actually don't mind it at all. Let's see how it sounds. It's not focused. I think it's just the brightness of the alphas that are showing that off. Dude, like the brightness of the alphas is making it look like it's not focused, even though it is. So like if I focus on my hand, my hand's in focus. The keycap set doesn't look like it is, but it is. Space sounds great. Yeah, let's see what it sounds like. Sounds pretty good. Oh, that row sounds great. Listen to that. Sounds pretty good. Spacebar sounds nice. Yeah, the board sounds great, actually. To be honest, for a tray mount, you can't go wrong. Brass plate does sound good. These are lubed switches. I think that sounds just fine. Yeah, for like the price, I don't think you can beat it. But yeah, lubed switches always helps. Lubed inks are going to sound good anywhere. Feels like a really nice build. Pretty happy with that. It's almost clicky. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I hope that DNL likes the sound of it. I think it looks good. Spacebar sounds great. That sounds really good. That's one of the nicest spacebars we've had on the show for a while. All the stabilized keys sound pretty good, actually. Pretty happy with that. Okay. Okay, guys, let's get the music back on. And let's see where we're up to. What time is it? It's 10 past 10 here in the UK. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. You guys can decide, do we do the second build or not? Do we do a second keyboard build today or do we not? Answers in chat now. Yes for Sue keyboard builds, no for just leaving it as where it is and finishing the stream here. So yes if you want to see another one, no if you don't. Am I tired? I'm a little bit tired, but it's okay. We can do another one if you guys say yes for it. So yeah, I want everyone to say yes or no, guys. Yes if you want to see another build. No if you don't. It is going to be a Fjell. It's not going to be lubed because it's going to be black blueberries that I'm going to well, I want to break them in, so they're not going to be lubed. So it's going to sound a bit weird, but hey, that's the way it is. So yeah, yes if you want to see it, guys. No if you don't. Lots of yeses in there. Up to you, don't mind. Yes, lots of yeses. Lots of yeses. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay, and oh, there is our winner. There is our winner for the giveaway today. Unicorn Salami. Well done. You are our winner, Unicorn Salami. I told you I was going to roll it at random, guys. There was a reason why I was asking you all to put yes or no into chat. This is the prize. It is a set of GMK. What was this called now? I've forgotten. pink blush or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but Pretty in Pink, that's the word. Pretty in Pink, that's what it's called. A full set of Jim K Pretty in Pink. I bought a multitude of these just so I could give some away. Unicorn Salami, if you reach out to me on Discord, you can find the link below. You can hit me up, Jay, on Discord, or you can whisper on here and message me on here. I'll pick it up that way as well. I want to get this out to you the next couple of days, so make sure I can get your address. But there you go. Not a huge prize, but hey, it's something. I'm going to send this out to you. I did buy multiple of these just to kind of show you. I've got quite a few of these. I've got multiple of them, so yeah. So Unicorn Salami, if you reach out, I'll make sure that this goes into the post to you. But I didn't say I was going to do it randomly, guys, so there we go. Okay, so DNL, I hope you enjoyed your board. There is one last look at it with that pretty nice key set on there. I'm really liking the alphas, not sure about the mods. So there we go. Next it's time to take a look at what we're going to build for the second build of today, which should be a little bit faster. That was really super random, to be honest. Yeah, well, I said I was going to do it randomly. There was a reason why I was asking everyone to put yes or no into chat. We'll match your pink name on Twitch. There you go. There you go. You guys enjoy doing something random, giveaways like that? Is that something you guys enjoy, or would you prefer something a little bit more tested? Another breastplate? No, we're going to be using carbon fibre for this. So, second build. Stock blueberries. Mechanisk ultramarine stabilizers. Focus camera. Gondolindrum, if you're still watching, good sir, we're going to be using the prototypist Doddle PCB with flex cuts. You can see that we have some flex cuts in there, made of carbon fibre. It's a good looking plate. And we have the Doddle PCB, again with flex cuts. Focus camera, please. There you go, Doddle PCB. As you can see, the flex cuts in the plate line up with the flex cuts in the PCB. You can see behind my finger just waving underneath there. You can see that they all line up nice and neatly, so it's pretty good. Look at it from this side. You'll see the gaps in the CF if I align it. There you go. So there we go. That's what we're going to be building today, and let's take a look at the board. I have stolen this out of my collection of stuff that's for the UK meetup, so this isn't a board that I own. This is actually one that Leandrin owns, and he lent to me to take to the UK meetup. I'm just going to steal it for this purpose. I'm not going to use the board personally, I'm just going to show it on stream basically. And how nice is this packaging as well? How nice is this packaging? I'm not going to use a PCB that's supplied with this, so we are going to ignore that. It has got a PCB in there. But we are going to use a Fjell case. Okay. And then this is going to go back to the engine later on. There we go. Gondo has amazing hand soldering skills. Yeah, so these PCBs are hand soldered by Gondolindrum. Look how neat and tidy this is. Look how neat and tidy this is. This is all hand soldered. Look at that. Focus. It's all hand soldered. It's really impressive. Anyway, as I say, don't tell the engine I'm doing this because he will probably be really upset, but I'm just using this, oh gosh, that's heavy, just using this as a build example, and it will be going back in his packaging, ready for the meetup, so he can do whatever he will with at the meetup, so don't tell him. Shh. Yeah, I'm going to take the middle tray mats out of this, they are going to be removed. Oh. So for those that you don't know, this board does offer the option to remove the middle mounting posts, so you can remove that one and this one here as well. So you can remove those just like so. We'll pop these in the bag so we have them to one side. Yeah, there you go. This is the Fjell, nice logo on the base, silver case. It's a really good looking case, chunky as hell, and as I say, I've stolen it just for the purpose of this build. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is to put our stabilizers together. We are going to be building this as ISO with full backspace, and I think we're going to do a 7U bottom row on this one. So 7U bottom row does work, I think, on here. Yeah. Just make sure it's on the PCB as well. Yeah, there we go. So 7U bottom row. Ultramarine stabilizers. ISO enter. And then we're going to go for full backspace as well. And as I say, I'm just going to use this to break these switches in. That's literally the only reason. And it's going to get taken out of this board, and it's actually going to get put in my Noctua T60 for my actual personal use while I'm breaking them in. Whoops. There we go. So first things first, let's lube these up. And then we can start to put these stabilizers together. Okay. Steelwind, hey there, how's it going? Hey man, good to see you, dude. I'm doing just fine. A little bit tired, but you know, we're ready to finish this build stream off. Now, there is something that you guys might notice about these. These are Duroc stabilizers, but they're ultramarine in color, but there is two different materials here. So the stem, the insert, is slightly different color to this. Now, in all of the other Duroc stabilizers that we see, they are the same color and they are the same plastic. This is slightly different. They are two slightly separate ones. The engine hasn't actually told me what they are, but I suspect that the insert is actually POM on these. So this is almost like using inserts from a C3 stabilizer with a Duroc housing, as far as I can tell. Now, I haven't had that verified as yet, but that is what I believe. Not that I've managed to do any particular material science or anything to prove that, but that is my current working assumption. Is there an ETA for purchasable dodels? Yeah, so I'm going to stock them on the store. Gondolinja and I need to just talk through and get that order sorted out and everything else. It will happen soon. I've just had a lot going on recently, and we haven't quite finalised the details of that just yet. But we absolutely will get them on the store soon. So the dodel will be on the store in the near future. We'll try and do the ANSI variant as well. Gondolinja, I can't remember what the ANSI variant is called. Can you remind me? I'm searching for a purple GMK set, but I can't find any. You could look for Hyperfuse, that's a purple set. Black Lotus is currently in production. There'll be extras of that in a few months' time. That's a purple set. Anyone have an ultramarine fellow clipper with GMK Nautilus on it? In my head it looks sick, but you never know. I do have an ultramarine Fjell just behind me. Sorry, clipper just behind me. I can show you that, but I don't have any keycaps on it. So it's a completely keycapless build at the minute. Yeah, so Gundo, I'd like to stock the ANSI variant as well, so we can also have like two variants, so the Arctic and the Dodel. Probably order something like 50 of each and see how they sell. Taro is a nice set. I've actually got it on the wall behind me. It's one of the sets that I absolutely adore, actually. Big fan of Taro. You might be able to see it just on the wall just up here. High polymer nylon, according to Leandrin. Oh, interesting. It feels like POM. It doesn't smell like it, but it feels like it. So if it's a nylon, that's going to be interesting. But it's the first set of Dielectric stabilizers we've had where there have been different materials, to the best of my knowledge. Okay. On to the last one. I see we've lost some viewers now. The giveaway's done. Always the way. That is the way. Watch for the giveaway, guys. Not every Dielectric is a Dielectric. Apparently not. Just because it quacks, just because it waddles, doesn't mean to say it's a duck. You can have a look at violet tendencies as well if you wanted to look for a purple set. That's also another purple set. It's not one that I'm a big fan of personally, but it is an option. If you don't want GMK, you could look at Cat Lich. That's going to ship at some point in the very near future, I think. A few months away at most. Okay, there we go. Just the sliders to lube for this particular stab now. And then we can move on to popping these in PCB, and then we can put some switches in. Okay. There we go. So we are going to pop a small rice-sized piece of lube just on the inside, on the base of each stabilizer as well. Just make sure it's coated nicely just before we put these in the board. So I only do this on the one I'm about to put in the board, just to make sure that I'm not getting lube everywhere. First one in, and I'm going to do the ISO enter next, and then the 7U spacebar. Glad the music's behaving now and staying on the same playlist. I have no idea what YouTube was trying to do before to me. There we go, and then we need to put this in the 7U spot. There we go, so now we can screw these in. Stabs and switches are tight fits. Yeah, I've just realised that putting the stabs in, they're pretty tight. Where did you get the smoky black Dielectrics? These are not smoky black, these are actually ultramarine. There you go. And these came from Mechanisk, and that's why I picked this board out of the boards that he sent to me, just because I wanted to do a couple of things to support Leandro, and he's a great guy, so I thought he should get the promotion for that. And plus, the Fjell's a great board. Okay. No need to use any washers here either, guys, because there's no crossover points with multiple pins or anything like that. So there should be no shorting out on this PCB. It's dead straightforward from a screw-in stabilizer perspective. Doesn't want to go in. Giveaway's already been done, I'm afraid. Giveaway's already gone, I'm really sorry. But that's already done with now. Cal Stead, it's already gone, I'm afraid. Left always becomes worse. Buy Everglide from KP Republic. Yeah, I think the Everglide ones are actually made by Duroc as well, I think. I haven't seen that proven yet, but I'm pretty sure. Not caught stream here in eons. It's nice to see the JL1 and a board building again. Thanks, man. Full, you won my love, dude. You won my love. Okay, there we go. So that's the stabilizers now put in place. We can now put the plate back on top. Move those spare screws to one side. And it's time to put some switches in. This board isn't going to sound great because these blueberries, they're going to be unlubed, they're going to be stock. The literal aim for this is to kind of break these in. So I may not even do a sound test at the end. Do you know what? Because of the amount of flex in this plate, I'm going to have to put all of these switches in individually, I think. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, that's going to go into the PCB relatively easily, so I think we'll just push them into the plate first. And then... Everglide is JWK's in-house brand. Yeah, but I think they're made on the same production line, aren't they, James? Ow. Stab myself with a pin. Attempted to 3D print stabs and I've been waiting for mine to arrive forever. 3D printed stabs, I've seen a few people try them. I would advise against it. They tend to sound terrible. They tend to rattle too much. They tend not to be great examples of stabilizers. That being said, you might have more luck than I do and you might really enjoy it, so you know, your mileage may vary, but that would just be my quick hot take on it. Ideally, we need to move away from stabs using things like wires and stuff like that though, and we need to move to stabilizers that are compliant mechanisms. I think that's the long-term aim for this hobby, and definitely where we should be looking in the long term. The short term, stabilizers aren't great, they never feel fantastic. Unless you lube them just right, they don't always sound great. But I think we should be starting to look at how we don't rely on stabilizers going forwards. CF plate is so much easier to work with, not a tight fit. Yeah, these are pretty easy to go in. Much easier than the brass plate that we used for the inks earlier on. The difficulty here is this plate's really flexible because it's got so many flex cuts in it. I mean, you guys can see there, look, it just flexes like mad, which is fine, but it does make putting switches in a little bit harder. Maybe a resin print would do better because it's much finer. Maybe. I haven't tried it. I've only tried FDM style 3D printed stabilizers, but I think compliant mechanisms is where we need to look towards, irrespective of whether they're 3D printed or whatever. Perhaps we could even look at having them machined at that point instead of injection molded. Am I interested in selling my GMK Tarot? Sorry, but no. So the reason why I'm not assembling into the PCB is because this plate is really flexible. So I'm making sure that the switches are clipped into it. If I was trying to push it into the PCB at the same time, I would struggle to get them into the plate because there's just too much movement in it. So I'm just going to do it this way for most of the easy keys, the 1U keys, and then I'll push it into the PCB afterwards, and it should go in relatively easily. Can 3D print a compliant design maybe? Yeah, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. But we could look at other manufacturing opportunities as well then, right? Which is the exciting part. Like, if we can get compliant mechanisms in place for stabilizers, then the world's our oyster when it comes to how we design stabilizers and how we manufacture them. At least you tried Steelwood. Yeah, I rarely sell stuff, mainly because I get a load of grief when I do sell stuff that I sell it for the price that I paid for it and not at the current market level price. So it's just easy to not sell stuff sometimes. Gonna go with step caps on here as well. Gosh, that doesn't want to go in there. Not quite sure why that one doesn't want to go in that particular hole, but it didn't. How dare you be ethical? Yeah, man, right? Have Jace keyboard collection, want a house? No, my keyboard's not collection's not worth that much. I don't know what it is worth. I haven't ever added it up, but it's not worth a house. New to the custom keyboard hobby for Sam, just learning and looking for stuff that won't cost too much. Take a look at KBD fans. You can often find good kits in there, kind of low in price. The NK65 is about to go up for sale in a few days' time as well. You could look at one of those. They're pretty cheap. You can get the injection molded one for just $95, I believe. You'll just need to add switches, stabilizers, keycaps. So theoretically, you could have a whole build for somewhere in the region of around $200, which is pretty good. Don't forget the key sets, Jay. Yeah, that's fair. I have no idea what my collection's worth. I've never added it all up, but maybe I should do one day. Maybe I should do a stream where we just evaluate what we think the actual market price of stuff is, and we go through my whole collection. Just do that. Maybe just like a 4-hour stream where we just go through each one and we agree collectively on what the aftermarket price of that particular item is. Would that be interesting? Would you guys enjoy that kind of stream? I'm not sure I'd enjoy it. I think I'd be slightly depressed by the end of it. Okay, almost there now, guys. And then we're going to push this into the PCB in a second, and then we'll do the rest of the switches after that. I would never make a mistake and calculate how much I'd spend on keys. Yeah, that's probably a fair point. Okay, so we're just going to align the first set of switches, and then we're going to push this all together. Drop my finger there a little bit. We're all good. Okay, those are all nicely in place. We'll put the last ones in. NK65 does not have an ISO. No, it doesn't. No, you're correct. It only has one layout. Yes. Shows satisfaction 75 with hand-up iron. That's on the wall. You can just see it just there. If you look at the small camera view, you can just see it just on the wall there. All the pain you endure for keeps. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go 1.5U bottom row. or Sangan bottom row, whatever you want to call it. And then that's going to be 1U. Wait, I might need keycaps for this. Make sure it's in the right position. Spacebar is going to go there. Let's get some keycaps out. Oh, what's this? GMK9s. This will do. We're just going to put the bottom row on here, guys. And then we know we're putting the switches in, the keycaps in the right place and the switches in the right place in the board. Easiest way to tell, just use some keycaps. So we've got a 1.5U there, and then we're going to go for a 1U. We'll get that to fit. And then we've got a 1.5U again. And then we've got a 7U. Oh, we've already got a switch in place for this one. And then another 1.5U. You're telling me that the PCB is labelled on the bottom? Gondo. It is as well. It is. It's labelled on the bottom. I could have done this without keycaps. Oh well. I'm so used to PCBs not doing that, Gondo, so that's a really, really good advertising point here. Steelwin says, I think I'm at $700 or €700 so on my current board, including my custom cable, but the group buy went in for DGL, TKL with all the replacement cost me nearly €700. So 1400 for all that is pretty huge, considering I wanted to have one that costed me as much as €300 at first. Yeah, so great sales point, Gondo. Yes, it does say on the base which holes to use for which particular one. Like the outside ones are really easy, but hey, I should have looked, I should have checked, I should have trusted Gondo. Trust in Gondo, that's what's needed. And I failed to do that. Okay, let's now we've got this all put together. Before we put the rest of the keycaps on, we are going to put this into the board. So I do need 4 screws. We're only going to mount it in 4 places, and that's going to mean that we're going to be able to utilize some of the flex in the middle of the board as well. So just to show you guys how that works, if I push the middle of the board here, you can see there that there is flexibility in the plate and the PCB assembly. You can see how much that's moving, and then from this top side you can see how much that goes down. There is a lot of movement in there. I'm trying to show you guys from a few different angles. So we should see how this feels and looks. There we go. Let's pop a couple of screws in to hold this in place. Look, he sent the flyer. Absolutely. I'm not going to solder this at the minute, Huey. I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to put this together, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm not soldering this purely because I'm running out of time, so I'll solder it tomorrow, probably on my lunch break. I just want to try and finish the build to some semblance here, so you guys can see how it goes. Would you recommend ISO Enter on a 40? Yes, if you buy a Clarabelle, I would recommend it. Or an Equinox, because I have it on both of those. Or I will have it on the Clarabelle when it comes in, but I do have it on the Equinox. So yeah, I'm going to solder this tomorrow, guys. I just want to show you guys how it all works together with the double PCB. And man, that's kind of flexy in the middle. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see how much that's moving? Let's zoom in the camera a little bit. So there you go, guys. That's the... If you watch just how much movement that's got, it's got a fair bit of movement. There you go. Cool. Let's get the rest of these keycaps on and see how the board looks, and then we'll see how it sounds very, very briefly. Bearing in mind that it's not soldered, And I'm not really doing a sound test because these switches are just there for to be broken in. It's just to break these switches in so I can lube them ready for their final destination build. Okay. I need the FN key. Where is the FN key? There it is. There's a shift key. And we just need the ISO support keys, which we're going to bob in just there, and there as well. And then the rest of it we can just go with the standard keys from here. Thoughts on the blueberry switches? I don't want to make a decision on the blueberry switches until I fully try the board. So once these are lubed, that's when I'll make my decision on them. Right now I think they feel a little bit weird. Like they feel really tactile, but they kind of have like almost 2 points of tactility to them. Look how much that moves. Can you guys see that? Is that visible on camera right now, how much movement there is there? I think you guys will see it a little bit more with keycaps on. Numero has flex, totally different from other parts of the board. Yeah. Can you guys see that? That's under normal typing pressure there, or a little bit firmer, but you guys can see if I really press. It's got some serious movement to it. Spring-mounted screw holes on the Lasgueloth can be snipped out to remove the center post screw. Also great benefit for those mounting points. Interesting, yeah. We'll see how that comes out. I'm not sure if I'm getting one, Gondor, if you're just sending it to Brian, but I'm really interested to see how that comes out. Would flex even more with a PC plate? Probably not, because you're limited by the PCB. So I think that the way the CF is cut to match the PCB, you're probably going to get as much flex as you would out of it. The only way you would get any more flex probably is to do a plateless build and just have a PCB mount. Which in theory you could do in this board. Don't break it, Jay. Never seen a keyboard flex on me. Well, you're seeing it now, guys. Is it possible to test keyboard or switch without buying them? I don't think there's a place to test mechanical keyboards. When the world goes back to normal, you will be able to go to meetups. There are meetups all over the world. There's probably one somewhere relatively close to you at some point where you'll be able to go and try it out. For example, we in the UK have got one in London coming up. That's going to be in November. November the 28th, I think, if I remember rightly. Assuming the world's back to some semblance of normal then, and we can actually meet up safely. And I think there's enough space for about 200 people to go. New Zealand on track to have a meetup in a few weeks. New Zealand are doing really well with COVID though. They're doing fantastically. So that's good for them. Really good for them. Okay guys. So there we go. This is the second build of tonight. I know I haven't soldered this one just because it's getting late. It's nearly 11 PM and I have to be up early for my day job tomorrow. But that looks pretty good, right? The Fjell is such a good looking board. And there's some crazy flex on this, like crazy amounts of flex. Please describe Flex. So Flex is the guy that helped me make the lodestone. He's a really nice guy. He's one of the most genuine people I've ever spoken to. He's genuinely really nice. Yeah, so the center posts have been removed. I've put them to one side. I can't find them now. So this is one of the center posts that has been removed. There we go. Yeah, really, really big fan of this board. Look how nice that is. I may not let Leandron have this back. Look at that view. So simple. It's really heavy as well. So I know this isn't soldered and I know it's not lubed. The idea for this particular board is to break it in. I'm going to weigh this one because this is really, really hefty. Let's see what it weighs. So Coat scales. So this is in American units. This is in freedom units. This weighs 4 pounds, 14 ounces, and in kilograms or grams, it's 2.2 kilograms. 2.2 kilograms for a 60%. That's crazy. My bod now. Yeah, I'm not letting Leandrin have this back. He did send it to me for the UK meetup, but I don't think I'm going to let him have it back. Let's zoom the camera back out. Wrong way. There we go. It looks great, right? I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Look at that. So I'll solder this tomorrow. I think it sounds okay as well. Interested to see what these feel like lubed in a couple of weeks as well. So once I rebuild this, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to solder it, I'm going to use it for a couple of weeks, I'm going to desolder it, I'm going to lube the switches, then I'm going to rebuild it, and we'll see how it goes. But genuinely like this build already. Thank you very much, Gondo. I'll see you again soon, dude, and I'll be in touch around ordering some doddles at some point soon. I promise we will get that sorted, dude. Right, there's a lot of bounce to this board now. Like, flex is really there. With this PCB and plate combination, it's really nice. It's extremely expensive for a tray mount, but they are on a different level for sure. Yeah, and now you can move the center posts and things like that. I think it's well worth it. The anodization's pretty much on point. It looks great. It's nice and smooth. The finish is great. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with this. So, as I say, I'm sorry I didn't get to finish this build properly and solder it and everything. It's just running out of time now, guys. It's nearly 3 hours of stream. I have to be up at like 6 AM in the morning, so I want to get some good amount of sleep. But yeah, I'm really happy for that. If you guys have got any last questions to ask, then now is the time. Please do tag me, ask questions right as we get to the end of the stream. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you've got to ask. Just a couple of things going forward. So the next build stream that I do is probably going to be next Sunday. I'm hoping it's going to be the JL1 Revision 1, which is the new version of that board. That's hopefully going to precede the IC, and then it'll go into group buy at some point towards the back end of July, all being well. Next week as well, we will have Top Clack back. It will be on Thursday. Whether Brian's feeling well or not, Top Clack will be back under our new current format, so I'm really excited for that. Irrespective of whether Brian's feeling good or not, we will make sure that the stream happens and we'll make sure that the show goes ahead. I do hope you'll wish me well, wish Brian well with me, because I'm hoping that he's going to be okay when he goes to the doctor on Monday. So yeah. Oh yeah, well, I've got all these viewers, I should ask for GMK Yuri International kit. Yeah, I'm paying big bucks for a GMK Yuri International kit if anyone's got one, so hit me up, guys, if you do. Is there a reason you went with the Doddle instead of the WTD60? So it's a project between myself and Gondolindrim. Gondolindrim designed it, I named it, I kind of helped him with the layout and stuff like that. It's purposefully ISO only, and it's designed for us here in the EU to use. He does have an ANSI variant as well, and I'm going to stock it on my store. Simple as that. So thank you very much, guys. Lodestone when? Lodestone is coming soon, so we've got the final version that's with Flex right now. He's built that, he's testing it, he's going to have it for another week or two, then he'll send it back to me. We'll try some new parts, we'll do a build stream in the future at some point, and then the group buy a bit later this year, assuming we're happy with it and we are ready for it to proceed to group buy. Right now there's still some things to tweak on it. I think that's everything for the questions. Oh, good luck on the Kipura. Thank you very much. I'm hoping I win. I need to trade one for the EVA 01 Kipura as well, so if anyone has one of those, yeah, I want to trade for that as well. So yeah, let's see if I can get anyone to hit me up for those. But that is for this week's stream. Thank you very much for being here with me, guys. I've genuinely really appreciated it. Don't tell Leandrin I stole this board from his stash, because I don't think he'd like that. But hey, there we go. Unicorn Salami, DM me on Discord if you haven't done already. I'll get that GMK Pretty in Pink out to you hopefully tomorrow if we can get your address and everything sorted. If not, it'll go out to you at some point this week. And yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Really, really appreciate the time, effort that you put in to watch me. It's genuinely really appreciated. Thank you for all the bits and subs. Thank you for joining the Top Clack family if you did. Keyboard Nerds Unite. And yeah, I'll speak to you all again soon. So thanks very much. Take care, guys, and all the best. Have a great week. I love you all. See you guys.